And you people who are farmers with fleet vehicles. This is an area where the Noble brothers have really carved out their expertise. Whether it's cabinets, truck racks, ladder racks, toolboxes, van interiors, van shelving, and a lot of it. Remember, I use the F word, fleet. If you have fleet needs, you need the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Center. 2 of them, one out in Sunnyside, the other one on Blackstone near Sierra. I got to know them when they turned a Jeep Wrangler of mine into a masterpiece. And I just got another Jeep. And they're doing it all over again. I can't wait for the finished product. Click nobletruck.com. Noble, Nobile. If it's a pickup, a van, a Jeep, oh, even a fifth wheel, you totally need the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Center since 1980.
Tired of electric bills and rolling blackouts? Go solar and battery storage American style with Semper Solaris. Visit sempersolaris.com.
News Talk 580 AM, 1059 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
KMJ.
Partly sunny, 56 at Radio City. It's 2 o'clock. I'm Liz Kern in the KMJ newsroom. Evacuation warnings are issued ahead of winter storms. The Madera County Sheriff's Office issuing a warning for Cascadel Woods subdivision east of the bridge, Bass Lake and Wildwood mobile home parks, and Church Street in North Fork. The Tulare County Sheriff's Office just issuing an evacuation warning for the homes and businesses along the Kings River from the Fresno County line to the Kings County line. Fresno County Emergency Services Manager Terry Mejorado, speaking to Brodsky and Musan today, said that officials want to give residents plenty of time to prepare.
Definitely out in the Tranquility, Mendota area, recipients of all the water that ends up coming off the mountains. You know, definitely if you live along the Kings River, the San Joaquin River, get some sandbags ahead of time.
You can see the road closures and conditions within Fresno County and sign up for alerts at the Fresno County website. We also have the latest on our website at kmjnow.com. Federal officials continue to investigate the kidnapping of Americans in Mexico that led to the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens. Here's Jonathan Hunt.
2 of the 4 kidnapped Americans are recovering in a Texas hospital. The bodies of the 2 who were killed remain in Mexico and will be brought home to the U.S. after forensic examinations are completed. Latavia Washington McGee and Eric Williams were rescued from a shack on the edge of Matamoros, a Mexican border town, and whisked by ambulance back across the U.S. border on Tuesday. Their friends Shaid Woodard and Zindell Brown were found dead at the same location. The 4 had apparently crossed the border for McGee to get cosmetic surgery. Officials believe they may have got lost and then been mistaken by members of a drug cartel.
Fresno police arrest a suspect alleged to be involved in a series of robberies across the city last month.
Detectives say the first crime happened February 17th. That's when a suspect identified as Jeremiah Wiley reportedly used a gun to rob the CVS pharmacy on East Champlain. Then on the 23rd, Fresno police say he held up a porta-subs on North Chestnut and that same day allegedly robbed the Super Liquor on West Fig Garden Drive. The next day, officers say he hit Miller's dry cleaner. Last Friday, investigators got a search warrant for Wiley's home and there found the gun and clothing he reportedly wore during each of these robberies. He was arrested and booked into Fresno County Jail. Ruth Michaels, KMJ News.
After the Fed chair's final day of congressional testimony, it was a mixed day on Wall Street.
Stocks ending mixed after Fed Chief Jay Powell testified before Congress for a second day, signaling that rates will move higher than expected and remain elevated. Markets remain concerned about rising bond yields and higher interest rates. 2-year Treasury yields higher for the 3rd day in a row to a 16-year high. The Fed chair also saying no decision has been made yet about interest rate policy for the Fed's March meeting. All eyes are on this week's jobs numbers to be released Friday, but private payrolls showing higher than expected job growth today. In New York, Jerry Willis, Fox News.
And on Wall Street, the Dow ended down 58 points, closing at 32,798. The S&P 500 added 5 points. NASDAQ gained 45. Right now, sunny, 55 at Radio City. The clouds moving in. Here's Fox 26's Justin Willis with our Wednesday forecast.
A few alerts ahead of the big storm. We have a flood watch for the entire San Joaquin Valley. Tomorrow to Sunday, below 4,000 feet. Projected rain totals 1 to 4 inches on the valley floor. A winter winter storm warning above 7,000 feet. Also tomorrow to Sunday, 2 to 8 feet of snow and up to 75-mile-an-hour winds. And finally, a wind advisory along the west side and coastal range tomorrow and Friday with gusty winds to 45 miles an hour. Outside of that, mostly sunny today with afternoon highs in the upper 50s. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Bring your friends and family to Castle Air Museum in Atwater and check out almost 80 vintage military aircraft exhibits open daily from 9 to 4. Check out castleairmuseum.org.
Now, KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
206 News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Good afternoon and welcome to the Wednesday installment of your Afternoon Drive. Phone numbers here are 490-5858. Toll free, you can join us at 800-776-5858. Find the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Drive KMJ and watch us streaming live on YouTube, Facebook Live, or twitch.tv, also at Drive KMJ. Gabe Navarro stands by to screen your calls this afternoon as I join E. Curtis Johnson back in the KMJ studios.
Hello, Philip.
Good afternoon, sir. We've got a buzz question waiting for you at KMJNow.com. As always, sponsored by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers. California is bracing for another winter storm and possible flooding. Are you prepared? Let us know. KMJNow.com. Daily Buzz question, again, sponsored by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers. Have you done any prep for the storm?
I have not, but I live in a safe Fresno neighborhood. Now, I will say I've done some advanced prep in that when I bought the house, I put in drain lines from the back out the front. I have taken some other drainage measures, just knowing what the neighborhood does. But this is minimal. I mean, this is suburban life compared to, somebody living downstream from a river or at the base of a hill that has the potential to, wash away, and turn into a slush side from rain and snow. I cannot consider myself one of the endangered.
So just a quick note for the Fresno County Search and Rescue. You're going to make a right on Sierra.
Hey, thanks for your faith in my prep plans.
No, I'm in exactly the same boat. If things go sideways, I'm going to end up back down here with my entire family packed into my office.
Yeah, third floor has its advantages, right?
It's the 3-story cube on stilts. My car may float away, but I have faith the building will remain. When I was pulling up, and I'm absolutely not making fun of this, when I was pulling up, we've got a coworker here at Radio City who was arranging the shovel in his car so that it wasn't visible to somebody casually passing by because he doesn't want somebody snaking his stuff. What you doing? Because like bringing a shovel to the radio stations, it's odd. It's something that you see every day. Oh yeah, I'm going to go sandbag after work.
What? Wow.
More prepared than I am, just by virtue of having shown up to work with the shovel. So I'm starting to wonder if maybe I wasn't a little too relaxed about this. But I live by Bullard High School. There are no canals near me. I don't perceive danger from flooding, and yet people are starting to get a little bit tight, and the entire region is under a flood warning.
Yeah, water's going to find its own gravity, and especially in rural areas, mountain communities. It's a real serious threat.
So a meeting was held up in Shaver Lake yesterday to talk about the incoming storm. It was Fresno County Administrative Officer Paul Nerland, the Fresno County Emergency Services Manager, Terry Mijorado, I think it is. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Representatives from the National Weather Service, the Fresno County Sheriff's Office, and the California Highway Patrol. And I'm going to sneeze in just a second. That's why I sound like I'm going crazy. Fresno County Sheriff's Lieutenant Brandon Purcell, speaking at the meeting, said an evacuation warning went into effect 1 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. So it's not an order for people to leave their homes. It's a warning. Millerton, Pine Flat, Shaver, Huntington, Courtright, Wishon, Squaw Valley, and Hume Lake. They called it Squaw Valley.
It still says that on the map. I'm not offended.
Neither am I. Everybody knows where I'm talking about. Madera County Sheriff's Office, they're issuing an evacuation warning as well. And they posted all the, by the way, if you guys are looking for this stuff, all of these agencies are sharing all of this on their websites and on Facebook. The communication level for our county sheriffs in particular in this region is really fantastic. If you don't know what's going on, just look for your county sheriff on Facebook. You'll find the information. But Madera County's issued the same kind of warnings. They're talking about possible flooding concerns in their county as well. They're especially looking at Cascadel Woods, Drive North, Cascadel Lane, Waterfell Way, Gertrude Creek Drive, Bass Lake Mobile Home Park, which I think they've already moved that out. If I recall correctly, there was a couple of homes in that community that were damaged because of snowfall already. Up in North Fork, they've got a couple of different spots. The Wildwood Mobile Home Park. Oh, my mother-in-law is going to end up at my house. She's not far from there.
You say that with glee in your voice.
I hit the lottery on mother-in-laws. She is the most easygoing, accommodating person in the world. And she has an excellent, excellent German Shepherd that will be coming with her, which will be amazing because then I'll have 3 dogs all trying to tip over all of my furniture all evening.
Well, you hit on something, though, there that's so important in these kinds of things, and that is having a plan. Oftentimes your plan involves family. Now, I've never been involved in any flood preparation. I worked in Oakhurst for a year. Won't get into the details because it just doesn't matter. But, for example, in early October, late September of 2017, it was a serious fire season up there. And the facility that I was responsible for, endangered population, as the administrator, it was important that I be at the Oakhurst Community Center at a certain point in time because of the meeting that was going on with various relief and emergency agencies. And it was interesting to see 2 kinds of people that were there. Now, I'm not saying this is true for every situation, but I think it's pretty indicative of a lot of these things. There were 2 groups of people at this meeting. There were veterans who had been there, people who had lived up there. They knew what the drill was. Yep. And then there were the newbies, the people who had liquidated their home in Southern California and had bought property in Oakhurst, and they're freaking out because this is the first time there's a fire coming their way. So they do the right thing, though, and come to this community meeting where there's all kinds of good information being given. Preparedness has to be a huge part of this. You and I are only half joking, I think, when we say we have no preparations. I mean, I've done stuff to be ready for the need to go, but I don't have sandbags as there's a rainstorm coming in. Well, and our neighborhoods aren't subjected to massive mud and snow slides that could happen. No, that's exactly why I've kind of taken the casual attitude that I have. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, the CDC and FEMA were running their zombie preparedness campaign. I think I missed that one. Oh, it was fantastic because zombie preparedness. Zombie preparedness. What are you going to do in the event of a zombie attack? And the whole point was, one, to get people like idiot disc jockeys to talk about, oh my God, the CDC and the FEMA are doing this zombie thing. The other thing was it was just a general emergency preparedness campaign. Do you have a go bag? Do you know where your documents are? If you have to get your children and your dogs and walk out of your house at 2:30 a.m., are you able to do so in under 15 minutes? And it was just a clever way to get people to talk about it. My family's this is true of my family and of my wife's family. We've always kind of kicked around just one of those, idle conversations when nobody wants to talk about the news that week. What do you do when? What do you do if? And we've all talked about the various, apocalyptic scenarios that could be visited upon our respective homes. Is that something that you and your family do? Like, do you and the boys have an agreed upon meeting point in the event that,
North Korea gets froggy and starts kicking ICBMs all the way over?
Well, we don't, and we're the bad example. For example, when the boys were younger, and I had a family, they're grown now, they're gone, but we had go bags. We knew where documents were. We had it ready to go. We had a stash in the go bags that included not only emergency supplies that we might need, but also food and water. And we have let all of that just go by the wayside.
Sure.
Which is a horrible casual attitude about it all. So, in other words, don't do what I've done.
Don't be too casual. You know what I was thinking about, though? Something that I've been looking at off and on for years, and I've never pulled the trigger on it because I'm not sure I want to be here if I need to live off of an entire year's worth of freeze-dried food. Like if the situation's bad enough that civilization has crumbled to that point here in California, I'm not sure I want to stay here. But you can order, and there's a couple of different places that do it. Like there's My Patriot Supply is a good example. You can order it's like $4,500, and I think it comes on 2 pallets, and it is 2,000 calories per day for 365 days for 4 people, which is actually not like an outrageous grocery bill. And it's got something like a shelf stability life of 15 years for the worst, like the lowest end, and like 30 years for the stuff that really, really keeps well. And I've thought about it. I mean, $4,500 isn't blow money to me, but if there's a catastrophe, I'm not going to be embarrassed I spent it. On the other hand, if I've got $4,500 worth of emergency supplies buried under my garage and we have a flood, did I just waste $4,500 on food that's no longer edible?
Well, that's a very good question. And it also leads to the point of what is the most imminent danger? Is the most imminent danger North Korea? Probably not. Is the most imminent danger someone in the mountains and flooding and snowslides? Yeah, that's the most imminent danger. And there are some things that are universal in all emergency preparedness. For example, go bags and knowing where your important documents are. Yep. Those kinds of things are universal. But there are other safety measures that have to be taken contingent upon what the emergency is.
Of course.
A fire and a flood, similar situations, but not exactly alike.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, the idea that with fires, you can cut fire breaks. You can reduce fuel around your home. You can seal the property. Depending upon what construction materials were used, you've got some play depending upon the severity of a fire. With a flood is a flood. If a flood comes through, whether your house is made out of brick, straw, or sticks, it's probably not going to go well for the immovable structure.
Yeah, you can't necessarily prepare for the structure, but you can prepare for the lives that are involved and have an evacuation plan.
Now, again, the County of Madera, one of the things that they pointed to specifically is that Wildwood Mobile Home Park, which, if you guys don't know, is a mobile home park right along the San Joaquin River. It's actually, if you hike through Woodward Park, that's the name of that park that backs up to the river basin there. It's not the first mobile home park I've thought of this, but you look at the construction of manufactured housing and the clearance that you have underneath the house. Why don't they build mobile homes with pontoons?
Steering and rudders. That's why.
Put a little anchor. It could be like a buoy.
Nice idea in theory. In practice, I'm not buying it.
I'm telling you, somebody somewhere could have had their stuff saved with a nice length of chain and a bunch of styrofoam.
Fresno County.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. Want to be 100% certain about your taxes? Jackson Hewitt backs your return for life. Switch today and get 50% off tax prep. 50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
NEM 3.0 is on the horizon and change is coming. Call Solar Negotiators today to find out how you can lock in your savings under California's current solar policy. Speak with a consultant today to get pre-qualified for a zero-down, low-interest rate loan and go 18 months with no payments. Go solar with confidence through Solar Negotiators, your lifetime energy partner. To learn more about NEM 3.0 or to get a free quote, visit solarnegotiators.com.
Hey everybody, it's Philip Teresi introducing you to the local guys at CopyRabbit.com. What's CopyRabbit? That is an excellent question. We all have projects we've been putting off. CopyRabbit is here to help you with all the projects you've been putting off. Just go to CopyRabbit.com, post your project, add some photos of what you have in mind, maybe even a video and a description of the project, and you're done. It's that easy, and the best part is it's free. CopyRabbit will send your project details to professionals in the area who will look at the scope of work along with the photos that were posted and send you a quote. And CopyRabbit isn't just one kind of service. It's literally whatever you need done. Whatever you need. CopyRabbit is a one-stop shop to get your time back. KOPIRabbit.com. Whether you're a housekeeper, a mechanic, a landscaper, there are customers with job postings at CopyRabbit.com who want to meet you. KOPIRabbit.com, where people go to get things done. That's CopyRabbit.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BEST for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BEST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BEST for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
I would like to tell you about Crawdaddies to Go. Ooh, that's something new, right? Now, it doesn't mean that the Crawdads are going to be playing every hit that they know in your living room, although that'd be kind of a gas, right? Just for you people who like to dine at home, Crawdaddies has put together a super menu of to-go items. These are some Crawdaddies masterpieces from the kitchen. They're $12 a pop. Example, 4 people are eating at home for $48. Okay, just so what are you going to be eating? How about Louisiana red beans and rice, chicken Alfredo, pasta jambalaya, oh, that's a good one, and New Orleans spaghetti and meatballs. Now, what sense does that make? Hey, in New Orleans, there's a massive Italian community, and they've come together with the locals and come up with this spectacular Crawdaddies to go, Crawdaddies to take away, Crawdaddies to eat on the couch there in front of the TV, whatever you want to call it. Order by calling 559-625-5300, 625-5300.
Tom Sharp for Maximum Air Gun.
Firearm regulations dogging your favorite hobby? Skip the restrictions and dive into the world of air rifles. 22 caliber through 50 cal, only at Maximum Air Guns in Fresno. From high-power slugs to specialized scopes, we have everything you need to eradicate pests, target shoot, or try your hand at precision competitions. Buy today, shoot today. Maximum Air Gun specializes in paintball, airsoft, and we have a huge selection of air rifles. Maximum Air Gun on Blackstone next to Me and Ed's Pizza. You will be amazed.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. You are listening to the Afternoon Drive. Thank you. With Philip Teresi and yours truly, E. Curtis Johnson. We've been talking about flooding. We've got a caller here, James from Tulare. Thanks for calling the Afternoon Drive.
Hey, I'm live?
You are.
You are on live, brother.
Is that Philip?
It's Philip and E, yep.
Yeah, Philip Teresi, that's my dude. All right, anyways, the pontoon thing blew my mind, bro. Like, I was watching you guys on my phone, and that would be a great invention for, like, mobile homes that are on like riverbeds or whatever. Because in California, I walk every day to my CVS or whatever, and I was like, there's this little canal that I walk by, and it's always dry, and it was full the other day, and then all of a sudden it's dry, and I was like wondering, like, man, imagine if there was like an overflow of this, and there was like homes on this section, right?
Yeah.
And then pontoon things, man, that's an inventive. That must be from your construction.
No, I think that was from.
I would say Philip, right?
No, that was probably from getting high and making up stupid ideas with my friends. If I'm being totally honest.
No, Philip, you're an honest man. If you're nothing.
Hey, you know what? That actually sounds pretty amazing to me. Because hey, if you float away, at least you're level on the water, right? I mean, right?
Well, that's the idea. That's the vision that I had in my head in the infancy of the idea. The problem is either you have to power it and rudder it, in other words, turn the mobile home into a boat, which from an engineering standpoint isn't out of the question, but is going to raise the cost of that unit significantly. Or you've got to try and anchor it like a buoy type situation, and you're going to have catastrophic damage to anything inside of the house that is not anchored because it's going to be pulling against that anchor point every time the current moves.
See, and I'll argue you can't anchor it because you got to be moving with the flow.
Yeah.
You don't know what's coming down the river behind you. So if you've anchored a pontoon, I can't believe we're discussing this. If you've anchored a trailer that's now a pontoon boat, there's going to be other rubbish and other trailers that are pontoon boats floating and crashing into you.
Ooh, that's true. Oh my God, you'd have an entire park tied up like somebody flipped a Newton's cradle off the end of a desk.
Yeah, no, not a good idea.
Yeah, James, it was, like I said, it was. I think that the physics of pontoons underneath a mobile home in ideal conditions, yeah, I think that you can float that thing and keep it on top of water. You start getting into a flood situation, and I just don't think it pencils out. If you want to live on a boat, live on a boat. It's going to be cheaper than trying to retrofit a mobile home to do that.
Well, and here's the other side of this. Eventually, that water's going to go away. Yeah. It's going to drain. So what has your pontoon trailer boat, again, I can't believe we're talking about this. Where's it going to land?
Well, and that's where I think you've got to have, just like you do on any ship taking up anchor, you've got to have the ability to pull back in that anchor chain if you're going the buoy route. And if you're able to if you're able to move it, if you've got the rudder and the propulsion, you can just buzz back over your spot and get back to where you started.
Sure, why not? Why not? If you can turn all of the trailers in a trailer park into pontoons, why not have pre-arranged docking stations downriver where they would meet up?
I look, it was a flawed idea from an addled mind, and if somebody had just a moment of joy picturing Joe Dirt with a sail and Ride of the Valkyries on as he goes buzzing past the rest of the wreckage of the trailer park, great.
Okay, so coming from a man who has lived in 3 trailers in his life,
yeah,
2 of which were in trailer parks, there are 2 groups of KMJ listeners right now.
Yeah.
There's one group that is screaming at their radio going, yeah, right on, dude, right on, what a great idea. And there's another group that is throwing things at their radio.
Hanging their heads and wondering why. Like I said, it was an idea. I acknowledge that it is not a feasible idea. Every good idea I have, either as soon as I explain it to somebody, they tell me the 8 ways that it was silly, or I explain it to somebody, they go, oh my God, that's the smartest thing I've ever heard. And then I go on the internet and find out somebody else did it a year ago.
Somebody's done it. But see, your heart's in the right place. What's your whole intent here? Your whole intent is to get people to talk about safety and get people to evacuate the way they should evacuate, not Philip's idea.
I want everybody to be safe. I want everybody to have a home to come. I want everybody to have a home to come back to. We don't live in a perfect world, but it's at the very least we killed a 7-minute break with a bad idea.
Yeah, and your intent is pure.
News time now. We've got Liz Kern in the KMJ newsroom.
KMJ News now.
Another atmospheric river expected to slam into California this week, bringing several inches of rain to the Bay Area, the Valley, and several feet of fresh snow to parts of the California Sierra. Fresno County Emergency Services Manager Terry Mejorado speaking today to Broski and Musan.
One thing, if I can really stress for Fresno County residents, if you haven't signed up to receive emergency alerts, you can go to that website, and along the top there's an orange banner and a red button. You can click on that to register for alerts. That's going to get any emergency information that the county is pushing out is going to go directly to your cell phone.
And that Fresno County website is fresnocounty.com or .org. In Merced County, you can sign up for text and email alerts through Nixle. Text MC Floods to 888-777. That's 888-777. And the Merced County Emergency Notification System is countyofmerced.com/alert. We've tweeted this information on our KMJ Now feed. American Idol judge Katy Perry facing backlash over comments she made to a performer. Fox's Michelle Polino has details.
Katy Perry was accused of being a bully and mom-shaming on her ABC singing competition series American Idol. When 25-year-old contestant Sarah Beth Leby told the judges that she has 3 kids, Perry quipped, "You've been laying on that table too much." Then Perry went on to ask her if singing was her dream.
If it's not your dream, you might need to leave because there's a lot of dreams behind you.
Right. Sarah Beth then sang an Amy Winehouse song. Perry said it's not enough. She told her to sing her first choice, which was Benny and the Jets. Fans of the show were quick to condemn Perry. One stated they let Katy Perry bully this woman on live national TV before she even started singing. So ugly. Others disagreed. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
If Darkness Had a Son is the latest taste of Metallica's upcoming album, 72 Seasons, and it now has a hit #1 on Billboard's Hot Trending Songs chart. Little headbanging in your car. Darkness is the third song to be released from 72 Seasons, following the premieres of lead single Lux Eterna and the promotional single Screaming Suicide. On Wall Street, the Dow ended down 58 points. 2:32 at KMJ, mostly sunny, 56 at Radio City, expecting that storm coming in tomorrow. Here's Fox 26's Justin Willis with our Wednesday forecast.
Mostly sunny today with afternoon highs in the upper 50s, but several alerts ahead of the storm. First, a flood watch for the entire San Joaquin Valley. Tomorrow to Sunday, below 4,000 feet. Projected rain totals 1 to 4 inches on the valley floor. A winter storm warning above 7,000 feet. Also tomorrow to Sunday, 2 to 8 feet of snow and up to 75-mile-an-hour winds. And finally, a wind advisory along the west side and coastal range. That's tomorrow and Friday with gusty winds to 45 miles an hour. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Since 2010, Blindster has sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters to satisfied customers across the country with 20,000 5-star reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Custom blinds at low prices and free shipping. Blindster.com.
And let me tell you, it's been a real adventure dealing with the Zuber team and the potential sale of my home on Van Ness. 2903 Van Ness. Hint, hint, it's gorgeous, 2 stories. It's over 100 years old. I've done much to it, and I want you to live there. Get a hold of the Zuber team, please. I used a couple of programs to make sure I could get into the condominium that I wanted to in kind of an expeditious, quickie way. The Zuber team has a number of programs that can help you out. If you have to move on now, ask the Zuber team to give you an instant cash offer on the place that you're selling. With the Zuber team, you can buy before you sell. Ask about the trade-up program. Darren and Daryl will take care of you and any other of the Zuber team members. The Zuber team with Real Broker has been at it since 1971. They've sold close to 7,000 homes. They have hundreds of 5-star reviews between Google and Zillow. Click Zuber Team, Z-U-B-E-R, ZuberTeam.com, or Google Zuber Team. They're so easy to find, and they're easier to work with.
It's time for baseball in downtown Fresno. Don't miss a pitch of Grizzlies baseball this season as the team celebrates their 25th season. All the fun starts Friday, April 11th with fireworks, family fun, and more. Join the Fresno Grizzlies for an opening day unlike any other as they kick off what is guaranteed to be an exciting and historic year. Get your Fresno Grizzlies tickets and more now on Sweet Deals.
Ready for some baseball? You can see your Fresno Grizzlies with an unbelievable sweet deal from KMJ. Get this most incredible deal ever. This Friday, purchase a Grizzlies opening day pack, including family 4-pack field box seats, hot dog, chip and soda vouchers, and Grizzlies hats for each. A $200 value for just $100. This certificate is print on demand, so you can even use it for other games if you miss opening day. But don't! These deals will be limited. Grab yours Friday morning at 9 on KMJNow.com.
This report is sponsored by Churches.
There are so many reasons to get hooked on Church's 8-piece shrimp meal. It's dippable, crunchable, downright irresistible, and it starts at $5.99. The only catch? It's only here for a limited time. Church's Texas Chicken. Welcome to the great state of flavor.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Getting an education is a serious business. Paying for one takes some serious money. At LPL Financial, we understand that putting a child through college takes thoughtful, professional, and personal planning. You can reach me, Tom Diaz, by phone at 559-878-4623. Give me a call, and we can talk through your financial goals and answer questions you may have.
Thomas Diaz is a registered representative with, and securities and advisory services are offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
KMJ's Afternoon Drive continues right now. Here's Philip and E.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. As the man said, it's Philip and E. Now, we've been a little silly here the first part of the show, but there is nothing funny about our next subject. This is a personal subject for me because I have members of my family who shall go unnamed who have been victims of sexual assault, of which, unfortunately, there are many kinds. Talking about this case coming out of Woodlake in Tulare County, 30-year-old Oscar Robles. To make matters worse, a former Woodlake police officer. Now, sexual assault, rape is bad enough, but when you're doing it under the cover of law and using your authority for such a horrible and vicious crime, I would argue that there should be extenuating circumstances with extra punishment, extra time involved. Oscar, even though he pleaded guilty, obviously found guilty of sexually assaulting not one but two women while on duty. Again, on duty as a police officer in 2017 and 2018, he's received 10 years and 8 months in prison.
So if I'm reading this story right, he's on duty. He encounters these women in the course of the workday, somehow gets them into a space and level of privacy where he's able to make this threat that if you don't comply with these demands, I'm going to arrest you.
Yeah, as a police officer, literally under the cover of law, as a sworn licensed, blah, 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 all the qualifications for a police officer, uses his authority to rape two women.
In addition to the 10 years and 8 months in prison he was sentenced to, he's also going to be required to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. Obviously, he's never going to work as a cop again. And that sex offender registration, that's going to complicate this guy's life indefinitely. I mean, this, by the way, is not a plea for sympathy for these people. I'm disgusted by the crime. I usually turn to this in the context of pedophiles. And I use that blanket term for everybody from consumers of child pornography all the way up through child rapists. And it's been my opinion for a very long time that child rapists should be subject to capital punishment. I just don't think that we need them in society. And the recidivism rate's so high that it seems to be an incurable situation.
I would second that.
In a situation like this, can an individual convicted of a crime of this nature, which I don't know that this punishment is stiff enough for my taste, can this person be successfully rehabilitated? Can they in the 10 years and 8 months, as if he's going to serve it all, in the 10 years and 8 months to which he has been sentenced, can he be retrained? Can he be taught meaningfully, truly, not just I don't want to go back to jail, but to think of women the way a human being should think of women?
Well, as of March 8th, 2023, 2:40 p.m., I don't care about him. Okay, we got time to deal with him later.
Sure.
So my point in this story is, first and foremost, is the victims.
Of course.
Now, if there is a KMJ listener who has been the victim of a violent sexual assault, I'm talking about this from someone who has had family members who have experienced this horrible thing. Counseling is a must. If you've been assaulted in any way, counseling is a must. And oftentimes the victims of these kinds of crimes feel like that they have done something wrong, and they have not, especially on something like this.
Oh, absolutely.
The second part of this is going to be another example of cops acting bad that is going to taint the entire law enforcement community, which does not need another accusation like this. I strenuously object to the attack on police officers, and I don't mean physically. That's bad enough, but police officers across America are being positioned as bullies. Every little transaction that happens that goes awry, cops acting badly in any ways, those are all being magnified in the news. And they are being used by leftist groups, for example, like what we've seen in Atlanta recently.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. I know you're right. You cherry pick the absolute worst example of a given community and hold those absolute worst examples up as if though they are representative of the entire community. This guy hurt law enforcement with what he did. And I agree with your feeling that, first and foremost, the most important people in this story are the victims. They need to get counseling. They need to have support. They need to know that they didn't do anything wrong and that this person is going to pay consequences for what happened. When I talk about the rehabilitation of this individual, it's not that my heart bleeds for this guy. It's that in 10 years and 8 months, or as it probably will work out in California, 72 hours from now when he's released from prison, has this guy been taught not to create more victims? And you get this registering as a sex offender for the rest of his life, which I think is an important component. Should this person be on the hook financially for the cost of the victim's rehabilitation, whatever medical care they might need, whatever psychological care they might need?
I would be good with that. Oftentimes, however, those things are impossible to collect. I mean, he's going to be unemployed for the next 10 years. Confiscation of property, even for victims in the United States, is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
The question that I would ask, and I do not condone the next subject I'm going to bring up, but as a cop and as a rapist, is he going to survive however long he has in his prison term? Rapists don't do well in prison. Cops don't do well in prison. Again, I am not advocating that some punk with a shank at some correctional facility should off this guy. Two wrongs don't make a right.
No, but he's going to have a bad time however long he is in. You're right. In that pecking order, that prison yard pecking order, I think the only people who are more reviled than ex-law enforcement are attorneys and child molesters. He's going to have a bad time, and he deserves to have a bad time. He did a horrible thing. The point about the restitution, I know what you're saying, and under the laws as they exist today and the consequences post-release as they exist today, you're probably right. This guy's not going to have the kind of income that he's going to be capable of paying meaningful restitution. If he owns a house, if he owned a nice car, if he has assets somewhere, I guess that at this point it's up to the victims to again relive this, to take him into a civil situation, to try and take those assets to cover their cost. I'm curious. I'd be curious if there is a way to attach what is currently a function of the civil system to a criminal conviction like this, that it becomes an automatic thing. This restitution is required, and if you've got to sell your house, your baseball card collection, or a kidney, you're going to pay this. You're never going to get lottery winnings. You're never going to get a tax return until that debt has been paid.
Well, it seems justice. Where's Mark Capitan? He could answer that question.
It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. That's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi. When we get back, the COVID origin hearings, they are leaning on Fauci hard. And Jim Jordan in particular really ripping into Anthony Fauci. We'll share some of that with you in just a minute on the afternoon drive on KMJ. Stick around.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you're like many people, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive professionals. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install our custom blinds and save big. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
Chris Daniel for Breadcrumb Cybersecurity. Ransomware, wire fraud, breaches. You're talking about it for your business already. How could you not be? These are nation-based bad actors, criminal cartels, the same ones who target government and Fortune 500 companies are targeting you. It's time for the next step in protecting your company. It's time to call Breadcrumb. Trusted by law enforcement and nationally recognized, the team at Breadcrumb delivers results, period. Go now to breadcrumbcyber.com because evidence is everywhere.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-929-2121. That's 1-800-929-2121. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-929-2121. That's 1-800-929-2121.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
The California Mid-State Fair is pleased to present an evening of music and wine featuring Styx. Friday, July 28th, the California Mid-State Fair in Paso Robles. Take a trip through the music and relive the classics live. Friday, July 28th, the California Mid-State Fair in Paso Robles. Get your tickets for the show. Styx, with one hit song after another. Get back on your feet. Reserve seats on sale Friday, March 10th at 10 a.m. at midstatefair.com. Styx. Go Miss Styx. Presented by the California Mid-State Fair.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack.
But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Webb, HiCap Program Manager at Valley Caregiver Resource Center. On Saturday, March 18th, for 2 hours only, we're hosting a drive-through Senior Medicare Patrol shredding event for seniors and caregivers. This is a great opportunity to protect yourself from Medicare fraud and identity theft. Bring documents with personal identification information, such as old bank statements, bills, tax returns, and outdated Medicare documents to be safely shredded. It's a drive-through event, so you don't even need to leave your car. Just bring a box that you would like to shred, and our staff members will take it from there. We'll have a mobile shredding truck immediately shred your personal document. Saturday, March 18th in the Valley Caregiver Resource Center parking lot at 5363 North Fresno Street.
Join Valley Caregiver Resource Center and protect yourself from Medicare fraud and identity theft. Saturday, March 18th at 5363 North Fresno Street.
Live, local, KMJ.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Thank you for listening to the Afternoon Drive. Philip Teresi is there. My name is E. Curtis Johnson. Good old Dr. Fauci being put under the white-hot spotlight of a House Select Subcommittee on the coronavirus's pandemic and its origin. So this, I don't envy this guy. I don't feel sorry for him either, if for no other reason other than all through 2020 and into 2021. And I say this as somebody who has been in media more years than I care to admit to, but that guy loved the camera. He loved the attention.
It was kind of a surprising thing from a dude who had, not to say that he'd never gotten up and opened his mouth before, but he had been, at least from my experience, kind of an under-the-radar character. You know, people knew who he was, but if you weren't in medicine or you weren't a journalist, Anthony Fauci was a footnote. He was the guy that said the thing that the lady with good hair on the evening news told you. And then we got into this pandemic, and it became, I mean, God, they had Brad Pitt playing him on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. And there's going to be somebody listening going, hey, why is E being so hard on Dr. Fauci? Well, I'm being so hard on him because I've spent my whole life in radio full of egos, mine included, and I know a guy who's ego tripping when I see it. And Dr. Fauci was ego tripping. He was loving the attention. And I'm not saying he deserves the heat he's getting right now because he fell in love with himself and fell in love with the idea of, hey, I'm a television star now. But he shouldn't be punished for that. He should be laughed at for that, but not necessarily punished. But the problem is the origin of the coronavirus and things that he said in the past and what we're finding out now. And the whole issue of, he staunchly defended that the coronavirus came from natural sources.
Yes.
Like a bat or something.
The proximal origin theory.
Yes, thank you. Much more succinct than my rambling there. So now he's being put on the spot about, well, wait a second. Are you sure about this? More evidence coming forth that it's coming from a lab. And he's in the crosshairs of this Senate subcommittee.
I don't disagree with an investigation to understand substantially where this came from, because I think that it really does serve two purposes. One, if this was bad behavior by a government, or a government agency, or an academic agency, all of which plays into that Wuhan Institute of Virology. We need to know that so that the oversight on those entities can be improved. And I understand we're never going to get Beijing to march to whatever beat we're drumming. we can refuse to fund any entity that is not complying with a certain level of standards and oversight. And if it is that proximal origin theory, in other words, somebody ate bat soup, knowing that so as to hedge against it in the future is also essential. There's a lot of gas getting expended on Anthony Fauci lied, as if though it was a conspiracy theory to prevent good information from getting out. And I've got some audio from Jim Jordan we'll have to get to after we do the updated headlines with Jim Miller here. But if Anthony Fauci was wrong, if he picked a theory he liked and he was incorrect, is that a violation of the public trust to be incorrect?
Well, only if he did it intentionally. And the issue is going to come out, and the proof hopefully will come out. Well, did he claim that it came from natural sources because he honestly believed that that's where the evidence was pointing to? Or is he trying to cover it up? And let's face it, Americans are in love with the idea of exploring cover-ups ad infinitum.
I want to ask you about that when we get back, because that's another piece of this that fascinates me. I don't know if it's doing this for a living that opened my eyes to it, or if it really is something that has evolved lately. The last time I really think of like a serious consideration of bad behavior in government being this widely mulled conspiracy theory. It's either the assassination of Kennedy or Watergate. And then somewhere towards the end of the Clinton administration, all of a sudden, I feel like we got into this mode of, it's them, it's the Illuminati, it's them with a capital T, they're lying to you. I'm not sure that they with a capital T really exist. We'll get into it when we get back. We got an updated headlines coming from the KMJ newsroom in just a minute. That's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi, and this is your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Salt is for seasoning, not drinking. Water softeners add sodium to your water without filtering it. Here's something better than a softener: a LifeSource salt-free water system. Softeners do not filter water and remove healthy minerals. LifeSource filters water from every tap and keeps healthy minerals without maintenance, salt, or servicing. New customers can get a free APA-Pure antibacterial filter, a savings of $825 with qualifying purchase. Offer ends soon, so call 559-330-1850. LifeSourceWater.com.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, agile, staying ahead of the market at every turn, and finding ways to do more with less. That's never been more important than it is right now. So for a limited time, Comcast Business is introducing Small Business Savings, a deal for companies across the country. When you call in now, you can get powerful internet for just $39 a month for 12 months. $39 a month. With no annual contract and a money-back guarantee. All on the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. With the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call and get started today. Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Offer ends 3/21/23. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Call or go online for details. After promo, regular rates apply.
You've decided to remodel your home or you're building new. Where to start? Creative Tile is your one-stop shop for all your project needs. Let them help you with decisions like backsplash, flooring, countertops, shower tile, and more. Creative Tile is located in an historic building that used to be a USO club during World War II with beautiful, unique tile, wood flooring, luxury vinyl flooring, solid surface countertops, and the star of the show, porcelain slabs. Progress and technology make porcelain slabs slabs take on many textures and finishes, so they can look like marble, concrete, limestone, travertine, granite, leather, and more. They come in large slabs and can be used for anything in your home, so you can have that shower that looks like a Roman bath with no grout lines and no slippery surfaces. They also come pre-sealed, so no maintenance. Come see for yourself. Creative Tile on Palm, north of Herndon, just west of the German automobile dealers, or visit them at mycreativetile.com.
You are what you litter. Coffee cups, cigarette butts, food wrappers, soda cans. Hi, this is Mayor Jerry Dyer, and litter heads are a major problem in Fresno. 85% of the litter you see is intentional, but 100% of it is preventable. We all have a choice. Don't be a litterhead. Let's work together to make our city a cleaner, more beautiful place to live. One vision, one mission, one Fresno. Find out more at beautifyfresno.org.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 1059 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
It's 3 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Well, evacuation warnings issued ahead of winter storms throughout the valley, including mountain and foothill communities and lower elevations prone to flooding. KMJ's Liz Kern has more preparations officials say you should be doing.
Fresno County Emergency Services Manager Terry Mejarado, speaking to Broski and Musan, says now's the time for people to prepare.
Definitely out in the Tranquility, Mendota area, recipients of all the water that ends up coming off the mountains. You know, definitely if you live along the Kings River, the San Joaquin River, get some sandbags ahead of time.
And if you're living in the mountains,
would be a good idea to come down the hill and fill any gas cans that need to be, filled for maybe some generators. You hit the grocery store so they can pack up their cupboards, because we definitely do not want them on the road. Downtown Fresno over this next storm could receive over 3 inches of rain.
You can sign up for alerts at the Fresno County website or go to our website and Twitter at kmjnow.com. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
Highway 168 will reopen today, but officials say this is not a time to take a trip up the mountains. Areas near Shaver Lake and at higher elevations still are recovering from the recent snowstorms. Snow is still on top of cars, rooftops, and businesses. Caltrans officials say they're working on removing snow out of the highway. China was the main focus of a Senate committee's annual worldwide threat hearing. Top U.S. intelligence officials testified. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has the details.
The Director of National Intelligence told the Senate Intelligence Committee that China is their unparalleled priority. Ranking Intelligence Committee member Senator Marco Rubio said our dependence on cheap Chinese goods and viral videos from TikTok are harming national security. He asked FBI Director Christopher Wray about the Chinese-based parent company of TikTok.
Could they use TikTok to control data on millions of users?
Yes.
Could they use it to control the software on millions of devices, given the opportunity to do so?
Yes.
Each intelligence official agreed with committee chairman Mark Warner's assessment that whomever dominates the tech landscape, from AI to critical minerals, will be the most competitive. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
China Peak is among 4 California ski resorts that are overflowing with snow. In fact, they all topped 600 inches so far this season after the recent wave of winter storms. The list also includes Boreal near Lake Tahoe, Sugar Bowl near Truckee, and Dodge Ridge and Pinecrest. 2 others in the Tahoe area could join the list after a new atmospheric river moves in this week. The Sierra Nevada is expecting 10 to 30 inches of snow. Well, gas prices continue to rise slowly in Fresno. AAA reports the average price for a gallon of regular gas today, $4.85. That's 17 cents up from a week ago. The statewide average even higher at $4.92. Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
A few alerts ahead of the big storm. We have a flood watch for the entire San Joaquin Valley tomorrow to Sunday below 4,000 feet. Projected rain totals 1 to 4 inches on the valley floor. A winter storm warning above 7,000 feet also tomorrow to Sunday. 2 to 8 feet of snow and up to 75-mile-an-hour winds. And finally, a wind advisory along the west side and coastal range tomorrow and Friday with gusty winds to 45 miles an hour. Outside of that, mostly sunny today with afternoon highs in the upper 50s. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
And taking a look at Wednesday afternoon traffic, I-5 and 198, there's been an injury accident there at various locations on 168 at Auberry Road North. There are one-way situations, so that means the road is partially open. And 41 chains are required from Big Cedar Springs onward north. In the KMJ Traffic Center, I'm Ron McCary.
Bring your friends and family to Castle Air Museum in Atwater and check out almost 80 vintage military aircraft exhibits open daily from 9 to 4. Check out castleairmuseum.org.
This is KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
You can't handle the truth.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. My name is E. Curtis Johnson. Hello, Philip.
Good afternoon.
Good to be back again here. You know, Americans love a good conspiracy. And that is part of the problem we have right now with Dr. Fauci. He's been drug into this Senate subcommittee. They're putting the heat to him. They're saying, hey, you said the whole time that COVID came from natural sources, bat soup or whatever it was.
The pangolin.
Yes, the pangolin. And, the problem is the FBI director for quite some time has assessed the origins of the pandemic. And this, again, the FBI director saying that the origin is most likely the potential results of a lab in Wuhan.
Yeah, the FBI director's opinion was one more. It was one more grain on the scale for me. The one that really got me was that was that statement to the same effect from the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, Department of Energy.
Yeah.
And the folks asked reasonably, why is the Department of Energy talking about this? Well, because part of their function is to monitor the development of weapons, and that happens to include biological weapons.
Yeah, why would they be doing it? Well, because they're trying to weaponize a virus.
Exactly right. And so that in particular stuck out to me. But I wanted to go back to what we were talking about right as we got to the end of the break. In my mind, political conspiracy theories prior to 2001, frankly, you had the assassination of JFK, you had Watergate, and then you had scandals. You had scummy behavior from politicians. That's existed since long before our republic. But the tinfoil hat, this guy's going to end up doing a segment with Art Bell, conspiracy theories. That we've got these shadowy moneyed puppet masters and these groups of people that are off wreaking havoc and creating conditions that are working against the American experiment and the American people. I feel like 2001 was really that. Am I nuts, or was that really kind of a new turning point for conspiracy theories getting mainstream consideration?
That could have been the moment that everybody became aware of it. I think it all started with, and this phrase is overused, the 24-hour news cycle.
Okay.
A lot of this is the result of cable news. And how did cable news really come into play? Well, it was with CNN and the first Gulf War.
Yeah.
Americans were all glued to their television sets if you had cable. And that sped off on other things. Obviously, by 2001, the internet was in full play. So you've got everybody popping up on the internet with all these, quote, news sites. But everybody's a broadcaster these days. Anybody with a smartphone can post content to somewhere and have a following, however small it may be. The point I make in that is it's death by 1,000 needles. There's so many voices throwing opinions out there that it really makes it hard, and ours included, by the way, that it makes it hard to understand what really is true and what isn't.
It's the internet. Of course, it's the internet. And I should have known the answer to that question before I asked it. But you look at somebody like Joseph Farah, who kind of fumbled and bumbled around the fringes of legitimate media for decades. And once the internet got up and running, and once even Andrew Breitbart said, hey, buddy, maybe you need to switch to decaf, he goes off and founds WorldNet Daily. And it was staring me in the face as I sit here looking at a website covered in news stories. Oh, God, I'm an idiot sometimes. And and I say that both just acknowledging my own myopia on this, but I think that that's the other piece that's missing. And I don't know that this is a new media, old media thing, but I think that it's one of the pieces that's missing when people go out and they're looking for information. When I get something wrong or I don't know a thing, I will say, hey, I screwed up. I was wrong about that. Or, hey, I'm not a doctor, a lawyer, a financial advisor. You should probably talk to a grown-up before you actually listen to my advice. I'll do that. You'll do that. I think everybody here at KMJ will do that. And I think, as a matter of fact, I think most of the folks, at least in this market, local media folks, have the humility and the self-awareness to do that. But then there's the Joseph Farahs, who will never, ever, ever admit, hey, I got it wrong. Barack Obama isn't gay Martian Barry Sorrento. So the other piece of this is the level of irritation. I don't know if you caught Jim Jordan sounding off on Fauci earlier today, but as the Congress makes a worthwhile and legitimate attempt to understand what happened for a variety of seriously necessary good reasons, Jim Jordan really teed off here. Check this out.
But here's the question I keep coming up with. If it may have been a lab, may have been nature, we're supposed to look forward, then why did Dr. Fauci work so hard for just one of those theories? Why was it so important to push one over the other? Dr. Barra said, we should entertain all hypotheses. Dr. Fauci had his hypothesis, how this started. We should entertain all of them. But that's not what happened. That is definitely not what happened. 3 years ago, if you thought it came from a lab, if you raised that, you were called a nut job. You got censored on Twitter. You were blacklisted on Twitter. You were even called a crackpot by the very scientist who in late January sent emails to Dr. Fauci and said it came from a lab. They called you crackpot. Is that right, Dr. Redfield?
I think the most upsetting thing to me was the Baltimore Sun calling me a racist because I said this came from a Wuhan lab.
Dr. Redfield, you ran the CDC and you were on the coronavirus task force. Is that right?
Correct.
That was formed on January 29th, 2020. Is that right?
Correct.
2 days later, Dr. Fauci gets an email from Dr. Anderson which says what? Virus looks engineered, virus not consistent with evolutionary theory. Is that accurate?
That's my understanding.
Next day, I know. Did he share that email with you, by the way, Dr. Redfield?
No.
As a member of the task force, as the head of CDC, did he share that email with you?
No.
Okay. Next day, February 1st, Dr. Gary sends Dr. Fauci another email. That email says, I don't know how this happens in nature, but it would be easy to do in a lab. Did he share that email with you, Dr. Redfield?
No.
You didn't see either one of those emails, even though you're head of CDC, even though you're on the coronavirus task force that had been formed just 3 days earlier.
No.
Well, and here you have it. You've got the other component of this whole thing is trial by media. And everybody's got a conspiracy theory in government. A lot of this started with the Iran-Contra affair back in the 80s, and it's led to the point where you've got all these subcommittees, and the subcommittees are all politically weaponized. It's oftentimes not about what's the truth, but can we stick the lie? Can we stick the spin? Can we put the blame on our political opponents? And I'm interested in the truth also, but I don't know that the level of vitriol in all of this, I don't think Americans are deserving of that. We're deserving of the truth. But the climate is so combative, no one's afraid to back down.
Well, and certainly Jim Jordan's got a full head of steam going here. And you can see that he is built, I can see very clearly, he's building to an aha moment. big if, in the course of this investigation, they do determine that Anthony Fauci knowingly and willfully misled the American people, is Jordan justified in the energy level on display?
Well, knowingly and willfully, probably yes.
Let's hear a little bit more from Jim Jordan, because he does carry on here, and he makes some compelling points disguised as questions, I think.
3 days later, Dr. Anderson and Dr. Gary, who told us it came from a lab and emails to Dr. Fauci that Dr. Fauci wouldn't let Dr. Redfield see, 3 days later, they changed their position 180 degrees. The question is why? Mr. Wade, why would they change their position that fast when the only intervening event is a conference call with Dr. Fauci, the guy who wouldn't let Dr. Redfield see the very emails that they had sent him, Dr. Redfield, head of CDC on the coronavirus task force? Why would they change their position, Dr. Wade, or Mr. Wade?
Well, this question does lie at the heart of the issue. What is pertinent, it seems to me, is there's no new scientific evidence that we can see that became available between these dates, the January 31st and Feb 4.
Right, there's no new, I think go ahead.
So you have to ask if there were other kinds of influence available. Now, it is true that Dr. Fauci and Dr. Farry in London were very powerful research officials, and between them they controlled...
I read your testimony, I saw that. Yeah.
So...
Why don't you cut to the chase and tell them what you really think was the reason?
I don't know what the reason was.
I know what it was.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll let you say it, because I read your testimony. I think you said it in your testimony, too. Maybe you're reluctant to say it here, but go ahead.
Well, if you're looking at the timeline, on May 21st, just a few weeks after the Nature Medicine article had come out, two of the signatories of the original email to Dr. Fauci, that's Dr. Anderson and Dr. Gary, were awarded a $9 million grant for the...
So there's 9 million reasons why they changed their mind. I knew you'd get to it. I read that last night.
And the fight continues.
It's a hell of an accusation. It's not an accusation. It's phrased as a question. The defensibility is there. But it's an accusation phrased as a question. There's 9 million reasons why. Anthony Fauci's never going to see a single day in a jail cell, even if it turns out he was out bribing government officials to change their minds and go the other way. This is extremely damaging, and I use this advisedly, because I don't think the government should automatically assume and enjoy credibility. But isn't this extremely damaging to the people who were supposed to be the adults in the room if you've got somebody who was supposed to be, medically speaking, the top of that pyramid, dragging people off to the side of an argument using funding for research?
Well, yes, but the climate has already been created. I mean, we've been doing these kinds of investigative hearings about all kinds of things for 25, 30 years now. And it tears us apart as a republic.
Does Jim Jordan change anybody's mind with this? For the folks who believe that Fauci had it right, that it was bat soup, or that it was just a naturally occurring thing that coincidentally emerged where it did, does Jim Jordan change anybody's mind with this?
Maybe not, but he certainly got their attention, and we're going to hear more of this.
Absolutely. It's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi. It's your afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. You've heard Jim Jordan, and you've been watching this story unfold on the news for days now. Is there anything in this testimony that has caused you to reconsider your position, or is the strongest statement after Jim Jordan Jon Stewart?
And taking a look at traffic at various locations from Auberry Road on Highway 168, there are areas of one-way traffic there. Southbound 41 and the McKinley off-ramp in the Fresno area, there's a traffic hazard. of some sort, and Highway 41 chains are required from Big Cedar Springs onward, and Yosemite Park remains closed. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Want to save big on custom faux wood blinds, shutters, cellular shades, and more? Shop Blindster today and save up to 50% over comparable blinds from brick and mortar stores. Get custom blinds at low prices and free shipping at Blindster.com.
Turn to the experts with Carrier. Here's Andrea and Eddie from All Britain Heating and Air.
Well, winter isn't over yet.
We're coming into the time where you might run your AC system some days,
But then run your furnace at night.
and that's hard on your system.
If your furnace hasn't been performing very well this season,
If you feel hot or cold spots in your home,
if your system seems to run all the time, struggling just to maintain the temperature you want,
if you're getting any weird sounds or smells from the system,
well, that's when you call All Britain.
a lot of times it's just an easy fix or a simple adjustment.
A lot of times, all you need is our famous $129 System Revitalization.
Makes your system run like it's young again.
And use less energy doing it.
If you think you might have an AC or heating problem, don't wait.
Because small heating and air problems,
Grow up to be big heating and air problems.
we believe everyone deserves to be comfortable in their home.
Just call All Britain
Because we've got the answer.
at allbritain.com.
ALLBRITTEN.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Webb, HICAP Program Manager at Valley Caregiver Resource Center. On Saturday, March 18th, for 2 hours only, we're hosting a drive-through Senior Medicare Patrol shredding event for seniors and caregivers. This is a great opportunity to protect yourself from Medicare fraud and identity theft. Bring documents with personal identification information, such as old bank statements, bills, tax returns, and outdated Medicare documents to be safely shredded. It's a drive-through event, so you don't even need to leave your car. Just bring a box that you would like to shred, and our staff members will take it from there. We'll have a mobile shredding truck immediately shred your personal document. Saturday, March 18th in the Valley Caregiver Resource Center parking lot at 5363 North Fresno Street.
Join Valley Caregiver Resource Center and protect yourself from Medicare fraud and identity theft. Saturday, March 18th at 5363 North Fresno Street.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BEST for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BEST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BEST for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation and discreet shipping if prescribed. You'll love your results. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Thank you for listening to the Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and me, E. Curtis Johnson. We're talking about the controversy. Did the virus come from a lab? Did it come from a bat? Where did it come from? I would argue that the controversy goes back to a television commercial from a rag from the 1980s.
Really?
Now, Philip, you might be old enough to remember this. Yeah. In the 80s, there were lots of television ads for the National Enquirer.
Of course, yeah.
And the hook line has come into our lexicon. Inquiring minds want to know. Now, I'm only metaphorically blaming the National Enquirer for this.
Sure.
But as Americans, we have absorbed that into our subconscious, I believe. With other scandals that have come out from government. We've all become conspiracy nuts. We're all looking for the dark figure hiding in the corner. Who's the puppet master? We're all thinking inquiring minds want to know. And so we get into the drama of these kinds of questions and oftentimes completely leave out the facts.
Well, and I think that the drama here plays big time because Jim Jordan is not the first person to talk about the lab leak theory. I mean, this has been a component of coronavirus as a news item for, I would say, most of the pandemic, really once people started to get a sense of the region. A year and a half ago, before the CDC, or before the FBI, before the Department of Energy, before there was really any concrete acknowledgement from the federal government of the United States, Jon Stewart went on the Colbert Show, the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And I have to wonder, looking back at this, if Jon Stewart really shouldn't be drafted back into service as America's last serious anchorman.
I honestly mean this. I think we owe a great debt of gratitude to science. Science has, in many ways, helped ease the suffering of this pandemic, which was more than likely caused by science. So, and that's kind of, hold on one second.
Colbert dips for his cup.
No.
Stewart gets up and runs because he thinks he's going to spit take.
It's coffee. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you.
So what
do you mean by? Do you mean like this? Perhaps there's a chance that this was created in a lab? There's an investigation.
A chance?
Well, but
oh my
if there
God.
is evidence, I'd love to hear it.
There's
I just don't know.
a novel respiratory coronavirus overtaking Wuhan, China. What do we do? Oh, you know who we could ask? The Wuhan Novel Respiratory Coronavirus Lab. The disease is the same name as the lab. That's just a little too weird, don't you think? And then they ask those scientists, they're like, how did this, so wait a minute, you work at the Wuhan Respiratory Coronavirus Lab. How did this happen? And they're like, a pangolin kissed a turtle. And you're like, no, the name of your lab. If you look at the name, let me see your business card. Show me your business card. Oh, I work at the coronavirus lab in Wuhan. Oh, because there's a coronavirus loose in Wuhan. How did that happen? Maybe a bat flew into the cloaca of a turkey and then it sneezed into my chili. And now we all have coronavirus. Like, come on.
Wait a second.
What about this? Listen to this.
Wait a second.
All right.
John.
Oh, my God.
All right, you sold me. Jon Stewart for president.
Right? And he goes on for like another 2 minutes like this. Colbert is still doing the natural origin theory. He's still fixated on that version of this. And that's where I go back to, Jim Jordan sounds strident. He sounds angry. I think because he's justified in being strident and angry about it. And I understand we've got a comedian who's making a point in a comedic way. That's an awful big coincidence.
Well, it's a huge coincidence. And we talked about this yesterday. And I'm not saying that things are truth because a national court jester says it's the truth. But it wouldn't be the first time that something was exposed, the truth of something was exposed, because a comedian poked fun at it. I mean, as much as it pains me to say this, Bill Maher is doing the same kind of thing with wokeness. It oftentimes takes a comedian to get the other side, generally the left, I would argue, to take a look at the facts in a different light. Now, do I know where it came from? No. But is Jon Stewart possibly right? Hey, the virus has got the same name of the lab. What was the lab doing? Well, the lab was studying this very virus that is now flooding the world. I mean, that's not a stretch of logic at all. An overly bright 6-year-old could connect those dots.
And yet in that moment, in June of 2021, Colbert acts like Stewart's doing a bit and the audience is laughing along. And again, Stewart's funny and he's putting it in a funny way. Colbert hasn't moved. And I really think that is a matter of political allegiance instead of looking at the data. Stewart, as leftist as he is, made that 6-year-old connect the dots connection and presented this a year and a half ago. It's a remarkable thing to me because when you put it on the news, it doesn't matter which side's doing it. The other side automatically dismisses it as disinformation.
Well, as a side note, I'm offended that you would insinuate that late night comedians generally lean left. I'm offended by that, my friend. Completely offended.
The only guy that even gets close is Gutfeld, and even Gutfeld doesn't believe half the stuff that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, he's saying it with a big old skunk-eating bumblebee's grin on his face.
There's an expression I've not heard before. I like that. Skunk-eating bumblebees.
Yeah, I don't know where I got it. It just came out of my head somewhere.
That's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi. Time for an update of headlines in the KMJ Newsroom.
KMJ News now.
It's 3:30 in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Madera County Sheriff Tyson Pogue presenting a proposal to ratify the local state of emergency for Madera County due to the significant impacts of the ongoing extreme weather conditions. In anticipation of this upcoming weather and the potential impacts, the county is going to continue to work with allied partners in the Emergency Operations Center. For the past several days, county agencies have been meeting to discuss preparation for all aspects of this event. The Office of Emergency Services has deployed resources to prepare sandbag locations, installed and monitor river sensors, and analyze historical data and models for flooding. Physical checks of waterways also being evaluated for flow rates, levels, and clarity. Crews are inspecting culverts and bridges and sending equipment to remove debris that may compound or result in flooding. Republican lawmakers outraged over the killing of 2 Americans in a suspected cartel kidnapping, trying to give President Biden the tools to hold Mexican cartels accountable. Fox's Peter Ducey reports at the White House.
Lindsey Graham wants cartels officially upgraded in the eyes of U.S. code from criminal organizations to terrorist organizations. But President Biden is not looking for any major changes like that. They'd rather use the Treasury Department and law enforcement on this side of the border to combat cartel threats in the U.S., as opposed to what these Republicans are talking about, taking military assets and going across the border to confront them in Mexico.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
A few alerts ahead of the big storm. We have a flood watch for the entire San Joaquin Valley tomorrow to Sunday below 4,000 feet. Projected rain totals 1 to 4 inches on the valley floor. A winter storm warning above 7,000 feet also tomorrow to Sunday. 2 to 8 feet of snow and up to 75-mile-an-hour winds. And finally, a wind advisory along the west side and coastal range tomorrow and Friday with gusty winds to 45 miles an hour. Outside of that, mostly sunny today with afternoon highs in the upper 50s. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
And taking a look at Wednesday afternoon traffic in the Visalia area, northbound 99 at East Page. There is a traffic hazard. There is debris in the roadway in the Fresno area, southbound 41. At the McKinley Avenue off-ramp, there's been a collision with no injuries. Now, 168 is open now at various locations above Aubrey Road. There's one-way traffic control there. This is 4 miles west of Pine Ridge. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
You know the first floor at Crawdaddy's can get a little wild when the crawdads kick it in and the crowd begins to rev up. It's like party time. The food, the service, the music, outrageous on that first floor, the legendary first floor of Crawdaddy's. A freestanding 3-story monument to all that is New Orleans. But maybe you are a bit more reserved. You'd like to quietly lay back in an opulent atmosphere with nothing but first-class food. An amazing long bar to satisfy your adult cravings. I recently took a very quiet table confined to a corner, had my favorite calamari appetizer with a lobster tail as the main entree. Very opulent, very relaxing, but at Crawdaddy's, it's the best of both worlds, the first or the second floor. Hey, you can always do both. You can go up to the second floor and relax with an incredible menu and that gorgeous atmosphere. And then you can go downstairs and rock until you blow your socks off. Crawdaddy's on Main and Visalia. What's on the third floor? I'm never telling.
Operations are minimizing. The demand for storage is higher than ever, and driving to an off-property storage facility isn't exactly practical. 20 to 45-foot repurposed shipping containers for personal and work storage are great. Container Stop will deliver yours to you, but Container Stop doesn't stop there. What about a tack room for equestrian use? Utility room for a gym, auto or carpentry shop with roll-up door. Here's the coolest part. Container Stop can even deliver custom home space containers for construction site offices, working from home space, studio use, or even adding a living space. Yeah, complete with finished floors, walls, windows, bathroom, kitchenette, heat, and AC. Hard to imagine? Then don't. Visit ContainerStop.com and see for yourself. They have what you need, or will literally make it. Looking for short or long-term storage solutions? Stop. Nobody does storage containers better than Container Stop. Their website's easy. It's their name, then .com. ContainerStop.com.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If cold candidate calls aren't turning into hot hiring leads, then you need Indeed. Because Indeed's powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, screen, and interview candidates all from one place. Find your next great hire visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Bring your friends and family to Castle Air Museum in Atwater and check out almost 80 vintage military aircraft exhibits open daily from 9 to 4. Check out castleairmuseum.org.
Is your company looking to increase exposure in the agricultural industry, drive more sales, and expand strategic partnerships? Look no further. The Ag Center is California's #1 resource in connecting ag professionals.
This is KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Thank you for choosing the Afternoon Drive. Philip Teresi there, E. Curtis Johnson here. Now, we've been talking about conspiracy theories. Now, some of this is a little, tongue-in-cheek. Some of it is supposition on our part. But you just can't ignore some of these connections. For example, if you just tuned in, we've been talking about the controversy that's going on right now in this Senate subcommittee. Fauci is on the hot seat, being held accountable for what he said, that the virus came from natural sources, and the controversy with the FBI director saying, well, a lot of our evidence shows it came from a lab, and all of that. And then what do you have China doing? China has made several comments that they are very displeased about the way that this is being handled in the American media. Now, we're going to handle some really complicated subjects here really, really quickly. But in general, some countries hold on to their national pride really tightly.
Oh, yeah.
China is certainly one of those countries. You cannot impugn their honor without some sort of pushback. It is centuries old.
Oh, yeah.
And so you've got that storyline going on, and then this thing coming out of Taiwan where there's this island. There's several islands outside of Taiwan, which is, of course, a bigger island. And these smaller islands are closer to the mainland. And the island in question is called Matsu. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So there are people on Matsu who are claiming that their internet cable, all of their access to the outside world, short of cell technology, all of that comes on a cable that goes back to the main Taiwan island. And they're claiming that it's mainland China that has cut this cable.
So one of the things that they're blaming is what they describe as a Chinese fishing vessel. They say that this was, they suspected of severing the first cable about 30 miles out to sea. So you have this shipping vessel that turns up, the cable gets severed. They give chase, and the shipping vessel retreats into Chinese territorial water. So they can't inspect it, they can't question it. It's gone for all intents and purposes. 6 days later, a Chinese cargo ship comes through, cuts the second cable serving Matsu Island.
Interesting coincidence.
So the Taiwanese government, I think because they're so scared of giving China an excuse to take some kind of kinetic action, they won't call it a deliberate act on the part of Beijing. In the past 5 years, those cables have been cut 27 times.
That's a lot of snipping going on in that hood.
Well, and you're 30 miles out to sea. This isn't some snorkeler who accidentally hooked his foot on a mystery line. This requires pretty specialized equipment and a pretty clear intention. Because this isn't a bundle of Cat 6 cables running across the bottom of the ocean floor. This is a big, heavy, protected piece of conduit.
Well, and it's got to be several hundred feet down.
Exactly.
Again, we're talking the ocean floor here. This is not a cable running underneath somebody's aquarium.
Exactly.
I mean, it seems completely implausible to think that a big ship's rudder or a propeller is going to hit something that's on the ocean floor. That's just an absurd premise to think that it's just an accident.
If you were to pin down somebody from the Chinese government and you were to ask them about this remarkable coincidence that vessels of Chinese registry pass by within minutes of these cables getting severed, could they blame it on an anchor drag even? I mean, does anybody sharpen the top of their anchor to break through debris?
Good question. And how far does that chain go down? And we don't know what the depth of the ocean is there. But the fact of the matter is, this isn't a bay. This is not like a boat in San Francisco Bay or San Diego Bay that you would drop an anchor in. This is the middle of the Pacific Ocean practically.
Yeah, they say that these cables can be anywhere from about 1 to 1.5 inches wide. They're encased in steel armor any place where they're in shallower water. But they do say that a ship's anchor could sever the cable. It's not out of the question. Again, 27 times in 5 years. I mean, you raised kids. Stuff got broken. At some point, somebody got rambunctious. They were playing catch in the house or something, and mom's lamp goes off the end table.
Sure, it happens.
That's especially when you got a bunch of little boys running around the house.
Yeah, you're bouncing on the bed, the frame breaks.
That happens once. It's an accident. Twice, you got a couple of kids running around. Stuff's going to happen. If your kids broke the bed frame jumping on the bed 27 times, wouldn't there be a point at which you said, guys, if you just want to put your mattress on the floor, tell me?
Good comparison. And from my house, it would have been the third time.
Right.
After three times the implausible happening, it's got to be on purpose.
Sure. And I don't know what the statistics are for cable breaks, like as far as comparable, geography. Martha's Vineyard, relative to, it's probably actually closer to the mainland than this island is to Taiwan. But Martha's Vineyard, there's probably an undersea cable that provides broadband internet access. There's simply no earthly way that people that rich are putting up with point-to-point microwave internet access at this point. Does Martha's Vineyard have 30 cable breaks in the course of 5 years, in 10 years to report?
No. There are cables through various ports in the Atlantic Ocean that go to Europe.
Oh, yeah. The transatlantic cable's a huge deal.
Yeah. You never hear about some ship, rudder or propeller or whatever, dredging up a cable in somebody's harbor on either side of the Atlantic. You never hear about that.
This is a small island. I think that I read it was 14,000 residents. Like this is not a massive population center. And doing this doesn't interfere with the main island of Taiwan's internet access. This is just messing with these 14,000 people on this smaller island. Is the only motive that I can see in this is just simple harassment, just causing trouble to cause trouble. Is China going to, considering the sorts of petty incursions that China has been known for, the balloon over Montana last month, the hacks that we hear about from time to time that are obviously being backed by the Chinese government, but they have their plausible deniability because nobody knows what's actually happening inside their government. Is this just more petty harassment to irritate people on Taiwan?
Well, it's certainly plausible. Their pride is at stake. Their pride has been at stake with Taiwan for 50 years now. Ever since Mao Zedong took over the mainland and Taiwan broke on its own. That they wanted that island back. They claim it's still China. Obviously, Taiwan doesn't want to have anything to do with the communists, and it goes back to national pride. Pride. One definition of pride is enmity.
Yeah.
And there's certainly a lot of enmity between mainland China and the Republic of Taiwan.
Can Elon Musk solve this by just setting these guys up with some Starlink equipment?
Possibly. We should probably not put his electric cars in the ocean.
Really? I think that'd be a good place for his cars at this point. It seems safer than on the road.
And checking on traffic in the Visalia area, northbound 99 at East Page, there has been a collision with no injuries. The 41 in the Fresno area, north of the 180 interchange, has the usual areas of congestion. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com, and I sell custom blinds designed for do-it-yourselfers. Unlike stock blinds offered at big box retailers, Blindster blinds are custom made for your windows and shipping is free. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation and discreet shipping if prescribed. You'll love your results. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Hey everybody, it's Philip Teresi for the local guys at CopyRabbit.com. It is impossible to predict the economy this coming year, but CopyRabbit.com is going to help by connecting local homeowners with business owners, freelancers, with the right professional for the job, which means they need to hear from you. Sign up for a free account at CopyRabbit.com, KOPI Rabbit.com. Check out the website for opportunities in the community. Find your next customer at CopyRabbit.com, where people go to get things done.
There's no denying it. People are using way more bottles and cans than ever before. Recycling them eases the strain on our natural resources and reduces greenhouse gases in our skies. Sure beats letting them spend the next few centuries just sitting in a landfill. Want to step up your efforts to help the environment? No doubt, reaching for the recycle bin just feels right. So no matter how you're doing your part, thank you. Do the right thing and take the time to recycle your beverage container bottles and cans at home, at work, and at play each and every day. And doing the right thing can make you money. Almost every bottle and can you use can be recycled. Look for the universal recycle symbol and the words CA Cash Refund or CA CRV. Toss CRV eligible containers into your curbside bin along with your other recyclable materials or redeem them for their refund value at your local recycling center. This beverage container recycling message has been brought to you by Mid-Valley Disposal and the City of Coalinga.
Clean and healthy water is essential for living your best life. LifeSource is the whole home water system that will change your life. LifeSource gives you filtered and delicious water from every tap, filtering out the bad stuff and keeping the good stuff for a healthier, happier you. No maintenance needed. New customers can get a free APA-Pure antibacterial filter, valued at $825 with qualifying purchase. Call 559-330-1850, LifeSourceWater.com. LifeSource, taste and feel the difference.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
AEG, in association with Turner Classic Movies, presents John Mellencamp. Live and in person, 2023. March 19th at Soroyan Theater. Tickets on sale now at mellencamp.com.
Coming soon, Saturday, March 18th, Fig Garden Rotary Annual Charity Auction. This is a don't-miss event. Enjoy an exciting evening of hors d'oeuvres, dinner, and entertainment, along with silent and live auction at the elegant Fort Washington Country Club, while knowing your attendance will help support many charitable causes in our local community, including Veterans Honor Flight, Assistance League, and River Camp for Kids. Rotary has helped so many organizations. Fig Garden Rotary, Charity Auction and Dinner, Saturday, March 18th. Get tickets now at Murphy Bank in Fig Garden Village.
KMJ Fresno.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. This is the Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson. Thank you for tuning in today. So President Biden has nominated someone for the Federal Aviation Administration, commonly known as FAA. No, okay, that's not, no. Nobody's ever called it FAA. I don't know, I'm being stupid here. Speaking of stupid, his nominee can't answer a simple question about aviation.
Yeah, Ted Cruz was probably the first really vocal person to raise questions about Phil Washington's experience and resume. And Cruz went so far as to say Biden was just playing politics. He wasn't thinking about the safety and efficiency of America's air transportation system. He was thinking about making a hire that would look good on a stage while he's signing a bill. So this guy's previous jobs, in addition to not having any relationship to aviation administration, he's been accused of wasteful spending and mismanagement of resources.
Then he's perfect for the federal government.
He's got no qualifications related to aviation safety. As far as I can tell, this guy doesn't even have a private pilot's license.
I have flown, 4 times in the last 2 months. Extenuating circumstances, doesn't matter why.
Yeah.
It amazes me that I have landed 4 times with just precision. And I've flown a lot in my life. Smoothest landings I've ever taken. And each time I have landed, I have thought to myself, you know what, that I landed safely because of a pilot who's trained for years and years, knows what he's doing. Obviously, the air traffic controllers made sure there were no crashes in the air. I have just put my life in the hands of a guy or a woman flying a metal tube with wings at 400 miles through the air, and been grateful each time I have landed safely because somebody had some expertise in their doing.
To give you just a snapshot of what this guy's awareness of the job would be. Senator Ted Budd out of North Carolina had two questions that he lobbed out in the midst of his interviewing Washington. First one he asks, and this is a little bit of a technical question, what airspace requires an ADS-B transponder? Now, I wouldn't know the answer to that. I'm not a pilot. The would-be administrator of the FAA responds, I'm not sure I can answer that question right now. But, okay, maybe you're starting to get out into the weeds with technical stuff. How about this? What are the 6 types of special use airspace that appear on FAA charts? 6 types, special use airspace. I feel like if you're a pilot at all, if you're flying a crop duster out of Reedley, this is a question you should know the answer to. Once again, Mr. Washington, sorry, Senator, I can't answer that question. I don't think this is the guy.
Well, he's not even a good bluffer.
No, Google it on your phone real quick. Pretend you're having a coughing fit. It's 6 bullet points. Prohibited, restricted, warning, military operation, and national security area. Just Google it, man. But couldn't even do that. So by the way, there is a 7th area, so it was almost a little bit of a trick question. Do you know what the 7th area is?
No, of course not.
Controlled firing areas.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at kmjnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Amazon Music or Stitcher.
Sure, he's been in business for 18 years, but there are still some of you, shame, who have not seen Lou Rodman's Patio Barstool and Amish Emporium. Brand new for him, right next to Fashion Furniture across from Lowe's. Let's talk. The finest outdoor furniture manufacturer in the country is OWLE. It's been a little hard to get, but now, daily, new deliveries of outdoor furniture from OWLE are winding up at Lou's place. This line is not bargain basement or cheap, no, but for the discerning outdoor type who loves their outdoor furniture as much as their indoor furniture. 2 names, Lou Rodman and OWLE. That's it. And who would have thought Amish furniture would have exploded like it has? This is the part where I mention how much I love my Amish rocking chair. But the Amish are producing furniture for every room in the house for Lou Rodman. Bar stools, indoor and outside. Dining sets from everywhere, including Amish, and affordable contemporary pieces for your dining room. There is, in this state, no other store like it. Lou Rodman's Patio Barstool and Amish Emporium. Open 7 days a week.
I remember when Russ, my father-in-law, told me just because farming's in my blood doesn't mean I have to suffer with no money. I was knee-deep trying to save a dairy farm in a down market, and Russ taught me the value of the dirt our family owned, taught me how to sell the land and turn it into a steady income way more than what I was making working it. We started Hoekstra & Associates so hardworking farmers like us could sell their farms at a good price. Then we help them turn that sale into a steady income for no extra fee. You can make way more than you're currently making off your farmland. Spend more time with family, at home, on other things you've always wanted to do. Live a comfortable lifestyle. Shoot, I'm still farming. Tough to get that dirt out of my fingernails, you know. Hoekstra & Associates. HOEKSTRA.land. Hoekstra.land. Reap an even bigger harvest.
This is Christina Mousson. Over the last 7 years, Closets by Design has organized 5 of my closets, a garage, a mudroom, and even my wine storage in not 1, but 2 of my homes. I keep going back time and again because they make organization easy, which in return makes my life easy. From the initial design appointment to installation, customer service, and your satisfaction is their priority. If you want proof, you know you can always go to my Facebook page and see the quality for yourself. And maybe you've already done that and thought to yourself, I can't afford that. Well, that's not true, especially right now. Mention you heard this ad on KMJ and you'll get 40% off and 18 months interest-free financing. What better time to give Closets by Design a call? 453-7034. That's 453-7034. Check them out online at closetsbydesign.com. Closets by Design. Don't just imagine it. Make your home beautifully organized.
Selma Swap. Buy or sell cars, parts, and big boy toys. March 18th, Highway 99 at Mountain View. 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., rain or shine. SelmaSwap.com.
News Talk, 580 AM, 105.9 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
KMJ.
It's 4 o'clock in Fresno. Good afternoon. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. This news update sponsored by Best Concrete Blocks, the old Fresno company with new ideas. Highway 168 in Fresno County having a limited reopening today after being closed due to heavy snowfall. Access was cut off to Shaver Lake, Huntington Lake, and China Peak Resort for over 10 days. The road reopened at 6 a.m. to residents, homeowners, and ski resort visitors. China Peak is also hoping to open based on road conditions. While Central California is getting a small break from severe weather, another atmospheric river expected to hit this weekend and bring with it a risk of flooding in the valley and the foothills. A local state of emergency declared in Madera County ahead of the storm. Here's KMJ's Liz Kern.
The Madera County Sheriff's Office has issued an evacuation warning due to potential flooding for the Cascadel Woods subdivision east of the bridge, Bass Lake and Wildwood Mobile Home Parks, and Church Street in North Fork. You can see a map with current evacuations on the website maderaaware.com. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
Fox 26 News reporter Rich Rodriguez speaking to the county's Terry Mesurado has more.
Fresno County's Office of Emergency Services has been preparing for days.
We're really taking a very concerted approach to this and mapping out the county, repositioning assets.
Mesurado says sandbags are already available in Westside communities where flooding is likely from the San Joaquin River. The Kings River is already carrying a large volume of water. What can't be controlled are creeks that flow into the Kings.
They could reach up to 3 times more than is being released out of Pine Flat Dam right now. It is going to come with a vengeance into the river and find its way downstream.
Several suspects believed to be part of a $1 million theft ring. Law enforcement officials made the announcement about the thefts yesterday. They say the thefts happened between February and June of last year throughout California, including Tulare and Kern counties. Thieves stole products from Microsoft facilities, including Xbox gaming systems. They're charged with felony grand theft, organized retail theft, and other charges. 2 suspects are still at large. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham tells reporters he's introducing legislation to designate Mexican drug cartels as a foreign terrorist organization. He says this is necessary to put an end to the fentanyl overdose crisis.
I don't know if it's a lack of will on behalf of the Mexican government to bring these cartels to bay or a lack of capability. Either way, it's the same result for the United States. Chaos, heartache, terrorism, murder, and it needs to come to an end.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
A few alerts ahead of the big storm. We have a flood watch for the entire San Joaquin Valley. Tomorrow to Sunday, below 4,000 feet. Projected rain totals 1 to 4 inches on the valley floor. A winter storm warning above 7,000 feet. Also tomorrow to Sunday, 2 to 8 feet of snow and up to 75-mile-an-hour winds. And finally, a wind advisory along the west side and coastal range tomorrow and Friday with gusty winds to 45 miles an hour. Outside of that, mostly sunny today with afternoon highs in the upper 50s. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
And taking a look at a few traffic incidents, southbound 99 at Adams, that's near Fowler. Traffic hazard of some sort. In Madera, northbound 99 Avenue 17, a collision with no injuries. And in the Fresno metro area, East Tulare and North Minnewawa, there's been a collision with no injuries. A reminder that Highway 168 has reopened with certain restrictions, such as one-way traffic. This, of course, is on the 4-lane that we're talking about. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th. Only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ, the Afternoon Drive. I'm E. Curtis Johnson, Philip Teresi with me. So good to be here.
And it's good to have you here. If I haven't said so in the course of today's program, thank you for taking the job. Holy smokes, this is more fun.
Well, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for thinking of me. If you hadn't reached out to me, and I would have never even known there was an opening.
So someday, I'm going to bump into you guys. We'll be out at the cigar shop. We'll be at Elbow. It'll be one of those scenes. I can't tell the whole story because there's the man has a right to a certain degree of privacy. But if you want to know how that conversation actually went, there's enough that I can tell you. You will laugh at how this came together. It was just one of those serendipitous moments, at least for me. I wanted to ask you about this Kevin McCarthy thing, specifically the decision to exclusively share that 40,000 hours of Capitol security video from January 6th with Tucker Carlson. There's been some consternation the way that Carlson initially portrayed this stuff. There's a clip that he shows with a Capitol police officer walking Jacob Chansley, also known as the QAnon shaman, the guy with the Wookiee outfit and the face paint.
Yeah.
And there's this footage of a cop walking him through the Capitol building. Well, as it turns out, as things were winding down, the police, as often as they could, would have the most peaceful interaction that they could with these people. And if you just walk along with the cop and leave the building, they were just going to walk you out of the building because they had enough other fires to put out that they weren't going to knock you on the ground and handcuff you right then and there. Carlson portrays it as, well, these people were just going on a tour. This was just an overly boisterous protest. And Mitch McConnell has come out and said, that's a bunch of crap. The U.S. Capitol Police have come out and said, this is nonsense. You've got Kevin Kramer, a Republican out of North Dakota, saying to somehow put the January 6th riot into the same category as a permitted peaceful protest is just a lie. But when reporters started getting up McCarthy's nose about it and asking him, do you regret the decision to share this exclusively with Tucker Carlson, McCarthy says he does not. And I'm not worried about Kevin McCarthy's political fortunes. The guy's popular enough in his district. He's going to be okay next election cycle. But I have to admit, I was surprised at the decision to share this exclusively with any one network. Never mind all the strangeness going on in the Dominion trial and all the information coming out of Fox News that Tucker Carlson apparently was so tired of talking about Donald Trump, he just wanted him to lose the election and go away. Did McCarthy make a mistake by not putting a line in the sand? Look, I'm going to give this to Tucker Carlson. He's got 7 days to make the meal of it that he will, and it's at the 7-day mark. ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, OANN, all these guys are also going to have access to these files. Did he cause a tactical error by not offering that to the other networks?
Well, as evidenced by the fact that we're even talking about it, the answer would be yes. because he's given ammunition to his opponents. He has reinforced the notion that Fox News is in bed with the Republicans, which they are, and so what? But it's such a needless fight, because if he would have released it to everybody, we wouldn't even be arguing about this. This is, in my opinion, this is like handing a loaded gun to your enemy.
A little bit. It was. I can't call it an unforced error, because as I understand it, this decision was actually made as a part of his process to negotiate getting the speakership, because you had those 15 or 20 holdouts that were not going to vote for him without significant concessions. As I understand it, this edict to release it to Tucker Carlson exclusively, all of this footage, that it was a result of that negotiating process. And I'm wondering if McCarthy has handed too much power to a vocal but distinct minority in his own party. And I'm wondering if he's damaging his own credibility, even with the people who would normally support him.
Well, in 3 weeks from now, we'll be on to the next fight, and nobody will even care about this. That's generally the way these things go. I may prove to be a false prognosticator, but I think this will just blow over really quickly, because there will be some other argument coming up that will attract the media's attention, our attention, the public's attention. There will be something else soon.
The other piece of this is that Tucker Carlson element. And I've made no secret of the fact I'm not a fan of Tucker Carlson. I don't think that Tucker Carlson is trying to give people meaningful insight. I don't think that he's editorializing from a sincere place. I think that Tucker Carlson's chasing ratings, and he's wildly successful at it. Tucker Carlson might be the best right now. I mean, certainly that's what the ratings say. But just in terms of somebody who knows how to hook and retain an audience, he's the king of the hill. This Dominion voting system story, this is this other side of Carlson, where you see this, this email or a text message from January 4th. We are very, very, very close to being able to ignore Trump most nights. I truly can't wait. I hate him passionately. You're a Fox News anchor. And if we're going to acknowledge that Fox News has a right-leaning editorial slant and Tucker Carlson's job is to editorialize, that seems like a tremendous admission of lacking credibility, doesn't it?
Credibility in what way? Because he said something against President Trump?
He's advocated for Trump. He has very much played the party line on being pro-Trump publicly, even to the guests that he selects and the coverage that has made it necessary for his emails and text messages to be included in this lawsuit. He's been on Team Trump in terms of the production of his show. Privately, he's saying that he hates the guy. Specifically, quote, I hate him passionately. That's a hell of a thing to say about a guy that you're advocating for all day. I would never endorse somebody that I hated passionately. Yeah, there's not a lot of people in this world I genuinely hate, but God forbid in some bizarro universe, my worst childhood enemy turned up as an advertiser trying to hire me as an endorser. I wouldn't take the money. I wouldn't do it. At a certain point, I got to look at myself in the mirror. Is the fact that Tucker Carlson's looking into a mirror that's worth more than the car I'm driving what makes it acceptable?
Well, I mean, you've been behind a microphone on radio stations for a long, long time, as have I, and this is true for other medium. This is true for internet sites. We have an audience to appeal to, and there are lines to everything. There are some lines that you just can't cross. On the same hand, there are lines that you have to toe.
Yeah.
Because regardless of what media outlet you're working for, particularly cable news, I mean, everybody knows that there's an audience that you need to appeal to.
Oh, no, I agree with that.
Right, but I'm sorry. My point is in the sense that he let down the charade, that he became Toto, and he pulled the curtain away so that everybody saw that the Wizard of Oz wasn't really a wizard at all. He certainly did that. But is anybody shocked, really, truly shocked by it? No. Did he make a mistake that might come back and haunt him? Sure.
If he made a mistake, it was putting his sincere thoughts in writing. Because Toto pulled back the curtain on the wizard. He didn't call Dorothy the B word.
Good point.
One of the other quotes here this is Tucker Carlson in writing. Quote, "That's the last 4 years. We're all pretending we've got a lot to show for it because admitting what a disaster it's been is too tough to digest. But come on, there isn't really an upside to Trump. Now we're not just talking about being burned out on the sound of a man's voice. We aren't just talking about a personality conflict. He's describing Trump as a disaster. He's saying there's no upside. This isn't just the guy's got goofy hair or my God, I can finally go a week without sitting through a 90-minute rally. This is saying something that is directly contradicting the content that he's presenting. There's towing the line, but once those covers get pulled, does he have a problem going forward? Do you think his ratings will slip because this came out?
Well, it depends on how much people talk about it. It depends on whether his enemies, rub his nose in this. Will the other cable networks, which all talk about each other now,
yes,
which that's a bizarre thing to me, that these people are having, over the air, over the cable fights with each other. I mean, it just goes to show that none of them are respectable news outlets.
One of the things that I want to know if there's a name for it. You know the visual effect when you put two mirrors up facing each other, and you have that bizarre hallucinatory hallway of mirrors diminishing in the distance of the reflection. I don't know if there's a name for that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I'm waiting for the day that any of these news networks, in reporting on another news network and having, so you have the chyron and framing of Aaron Burnett on CNN. And then you have the chyron and framing of a moment from Laura Ingraham on Fox News. And then you have the chyron and framing of Rachel Maddow on MSNBC. And then you have the chyron and framing of OANN. If we aren't eventually going to have this infinite point in the distance of all of these jabbering morons talking about each other's coverage of each other's coverage of each other's coverage.
That's a great question.
Or if it'll be like Spaceballs, where they get the copy of Spaceballs, the movie, and put it in the VHS player, and to fast forward to find out where the good guys are going so they can catch up with them after they go plaid.
Well, let's hope it's that. Then we can grab some popcorn and watch the world end.
It's just, oh God, it's
kabuki theater.
Kafabi. It's kafabi for people who can't do push-ups.
And taking a look at Wednesday afternoon traffic, southbound 99 at Adams in the Fowler area, there is a traffic hazard there. In Madera area, northbound 99 at Avenue 17, there's been a collision with no injuries. And in the Fresno metro area, East Tulare and North Minnewawa, there has been a collision. No injuries involved there. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry
extremely. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BEST for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BEST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BEST for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
Folks, there's a fast break with the game on the line. He dribbles down the court, passes ahead for the alley-oop, and it's caught for a slam dunk.
Do you need an assist? Regain and optimize your sexual performance. See what Pacific Men's Clinic can do to help in the bedroom. Pacific Men's Clinic's safe and pain-free, clinically proven procedure breaks up plaque and stimulates the growth of healthy new blood vessels. Call for your free consultation now at 559-550-6771. That's 559-550-6771.
Salt is for seasoning, not drinking. Water softeners add sodium to your water without filtering it. Here's something better than a softener: a LifeSource salt-free water system. Softeners do not filter water and remove healthy minerals. LifeSource filters water from every tap and keeps healthy minerals without maintenance, salt, or servicing. New customers can get a free APA-Pure antibacterial filter, a savings of $825 with qualifying purchase. Offer ends soon, so call 559-330-1850. LifeSourceWater.com.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. Now, it looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month, but you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Safety and security across Central Valley farms and ranches is a high priority. Rocky Pipkin here for the Pipkin Detective Agency. At PDA, we've developed a security management strategy to combat theft, contamination, cybercrime, injured persons, and potential litigation. All it takes is an opportunity for a breach to happen. Our team is trained to assess your facility and operations and provide you with preventative measures. If you are experiencing issues on your farm or ranch, it's time to go Pipkin. We have a variety of checkpoints that are used to protect you and your investment: security cameras, targeted lighting, security and warning signs, transport security, business computer security, and CPR certifications. PDA has the knowledge, technology, and power to gain control of your farm or ranch. Contact us for a no-cost assessment. Call Pipkin Detective Agency at 622-8889. That's 622-8889. When issues arise on your farm or ranch, it's time to go Pipkin. Serving the Valley since 1987.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th. Only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. It's the afternoon drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson. You know, normally you've got parents who try and kind of set a good example for their kids. Usually, you got a story out there. It's a survey from The Hill claiming that out of 580 parents with children, many of the parents lied about their kids' COVID status. 19% of the respondents did not get their child tested before the coronavirus so that they thought their child might have COVID-19. Other behaviors including stating that the child was older than they were so that they could get vaccinated, which was about 10% of respondents. Some said that their child was vaccinated when they were not, about 10% of the respondents. Some claimed that their child was not vaccinated when they were. Pardon me, my voice is going. Swig of water, thank you. Others said that their child did not need to quarantine when they actually did.
So about 26% of the group participated in at least one of these behaviors. The one that's most curious to me is the person saying that my child isn't vaccinated when they were, because that says that anti-vaxxer movement was causing people to feel pressure to not get their kids vaccinated. And so you had parents who knew better, who went out and got their kid the shot, and then continued to pay lip service to people who were just up in arms about the RFID chips that Bill Gates installed in all of us.
You know, though, and I'm not justifying the actions, but with everything that happened with COVID, I think it's understandable. Again, I'm not justifying why someone would lie. But eventually, it's the old picture of, the final act of defiance, if you've ever seen that picture. Because there reached a point, I think, with all of us during COVID where we all went at some point and said, this is nonsense. Like, for example, and I don't mean to mention this every show, but at one point I was a nursing home administrator.
Yeah.
Did it for 4 years, worked at 7 different facilities in those 4 years. I am not a clinician. I am not a doctor. But I do have an understanding of what's called infection control at a higher level than the average person.
Sure.
And the whole thing about wearing a mask and gloving up, if you practiced the same policies that the CDC suggested that we practice with masking and gloving, if we practice that in a hospital or a nursing home, the California Department of Public Health would issue fines, because what they had us doing in public with gloves and masking wasn't actual infection control. Now, I use that just as an example to say, now that is something that I went along with.
Sure.
Knowing full well that it was bunk, knowing full well that it wasn't really protecting anyone, certainly not me. But I went along with it because I didn't want the clerk at Home Depot telling me I had to leave the store.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't going to scream at the guy bagging my groceries because I didn't want to wear a mask.
Yes, going along with something that I knew wasn't completely right was just easier than the grief that would have been my life had I stood up.
I sympathize with the people who were irritated, frustrated, outraged by the government overstepping and giving bad advice. I would love to see, and we won't see it probably for years and years. I've seen these massively conflicting reports about the masking in particular, because one of the elements of the masking is, of course, if you weren't wearing a properly fitted N95 mask with your face shaved so as to allow it to make contact with the skin,
yes,
that it was not going to be an effective barrier against the passage of viral particles. But having something over your face that keeps your sneeze from getting all the way across the grocery store is better than your sneeze getting all the way across the grocery store. And while the mask might not filter viral particles, it's going to filter the spit that the viral particles were hanging on to, isn't it?
Well, yes, and you're correct in that application. You're absolutely right that keeping sputum from becoming airborne was better than nothing. But we weren't told the truth. The government didn't tell us the truth.
Yeah.
The government didn't say these protocols are less than perfect, but it's better than something. That at least would have been honest. Instead, they rammed it down our throat and made us be afraid if we didn't follow their ever-changing rules to the nth degree of the law.
The point at which I knew we were just watching people throw stuff at the wall, like really just finally said to myself, okay, we have crossed over from questionable into pure unmitigated shenanigans. When they started telling people to wear 2 masks.
Yeah, that was the jumping the shark.
Because like I said, my logic, and I'm let me be clear, not a doctor. My logic was always, the paper mask isn't going to stop a virus. It wasn't about stopping the virus. It was about keeping your sneeze on your own face instead of the back of the neck of the guy in front of you in line at the grocery store. One mask will do that or it won't. Putting a second mask on that's hanging down beneath your nose is going to do exactly the zero good that the first mask did. And that was the point at which I knew that we had crossed over into people just making stuff up as a part of hygiene theater.
That's a great name, by the way. Hygiene theater. I'm going to grab some popcorn and watch that.
But while I'm surprised that there are people who lied the other way about vaccination, because I can understand somebody whose kid is not vaccinated saying, oh, yeah, no, little Billy got his vaccine so he can go to Disneyland or go to school or, all those normal things. Like, I don't agree with it, but I can wrap my head around it. It's the other way around. Are you really lying to your Facebook friend group about this decision that you made? That surprised me.
And that doesn't, and I'll tell you why in a minute.
But that so many people didn't just, especially with the kids. I agree, keeping all of the kids home from school for 2 years was bad for kids. I'm of the opinion that the jury is still out on how much good it really did in terms of suppressing transmission. But I agree that kids being out of school for 2 years was bad for the kids. Whatever the cause, it wasn't a healthy thing for them at a societal level. If my kid doesn't feel good, I'm keeping my kid home, as whether it's coronavirus or RSV or whatever it is that every public school kid gets every school year. I'm keeping my kid home so they don't get other people sick. I don't need a fancy name to say, stay home and watch The Price is Right.
Yeah, but we all experienced something that Americans had never experienced before. It was groupthink at a government level.
So I want to. We got to get to news with Jim Miller, but when we get back, I want to hear why you're not surprised that people would lie in the opposite direction, get a vaccine for their kid, and then say that they did not, because the behavior mystifies me.
And I'll be happy to share it.
That's on the way. After an updated headlines with Jim Miller in the KMJ Newsroom.
KMJ News now.
It's 4:30 in Fresno. Good afternoon. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Suspect's been arrested after the burned body of a missing woman found Friday in Fresno County. According to Fairfield Police and Fresno County Sheriff's Office, remains were found in a rural unincorporated area of Fresno County. Fairfield detectives say they were able to get DNA from the remains and determine the identity to be that of 53-year-old Anu Anand Hobson of Fairfield. Anu was reported missing February 15 after she was last seen February 13. After an investigation, they say they have arrested Anu's husband, 61-year-old Greg Hobson, in connection to her death. The investigation is ongoing. Gas prices continue to rise slowly in Fresno. AAA reports that the average price for a gallon of regular Wednesday, $4.85. That's 17 cents up from a week ago. Statewide average is even higher at $4.92. Highway 168 reopening today, but officials say it's not a time to take a trip to the mountains. Areas near Shaver Lake and in higher elevation still recovering from the recent snowstorm. Snow still on top of cars, rooftops, and businesses. Caltrans officials say they're working on removing snow out of the highway. Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Mostly sunny today with afternoon highs in the upper 50s, but several alerts ahead of the storm. First, a flood watch for the entire San Joaquin Valley. Tomorrow to Sunday below 4,000 feet. Projected rain totals 1 to 4 inches on the valley floor. A winter storm warning above 7,000 feet. Also tomorrow to Sunday, 2 to 8 feet of snow and up to 75-mile-an-hour winds. And finally, a wind advisory along the west side and coastal range. That's tomorrow and Friday with gusty winds to 45 miles an hour. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
with news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
And traffic is sponsored by Table Mountain Casino Resort. In Madera, Road 22, Avenue 24, there's been a collision with no injuries. Northbound 41 north of the 180 interchange, and also the interchanges going into northbound 41 are more congested than usual, so it will be slow going there. Here's another way to win this March at Table Mountain Casino Resort. You can win a stoneware set. On Thursdays from 5 a.m. to midnight, earn 900 points playing with your rewards card. If you qualify, you win. You could win that stoneware set. You can pick up your gift piece from the promotions counter while supplies last. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th. Only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation and discreet shipping if prescribed. You'll love your results. To start your free online visit, go to 4hims.com/joy. That's FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Welcome back to Sports Chat. We're talking about last night's controversial rain delay. Let's go with caller 2, Gary in Fresno. What's your take?
Yeah, I've got a fleet of 8 service vans and 4 16-wheelers I wanted to wrap with custom graphics. So I go to one graphics place, and I kid you not, they said I had to wait until the rainy season was over to have my fleet wrapped because they do it outside.
What'd you do, Gary?
I went over to Mega Prints. They've got a massive indoor bay where they can wrap a tractor-trailer rig or multiple fleet vehicles at the same time, inside.
Search Mega Prints Fresno, check out their work online, and give them a call.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. I knew we could not put off getting life insurance. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $40 a month. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $18 a month.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-929-2121 or go to SelectQuote.com now. That's 1-800-929-2121. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
I know exactly how you feel. You're sitting there at the gas pump wondering, am I ever going to have a regular meal again? Because you're cutting out all the good food because you can't afford the gas, right? Wait until you see your next PG&E bill. No more meals out and no more hair because you're going to be pulling that out as well, too. Do what I did. Planet Solar. When you have a solar system put in by Planet Solar, you literally lock in your energy price forever. Don't you wish it could be that way at the gas pump? Sorry, but you can't do that there. But you can do it for your home with Planet Solar, and it all began for them right here in Central California. One of the things I really liked about these guys is their financing. Don't let the rate hike scare you away from going with Planet Solar. And they are really quick and good and efficient on installation, and they have become masters at putting together a complete solar package with a solar battery. So you've got the juice when PG&E says, no, you don't need it because we're trying to conserve to save the world. Click planetsolar.com. Do that. Call them at 228-9245.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. If you're like many people, you may think custom blinds is a job for expensive professionals. Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install our custom blinds and save big. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
KMJ's Afternoon Drive continues right now. Here's Philip and E.
Thank you. News Talk 580, 1059, and KMJ. I butchered that intro. But let's get back into the subject that we were talking about.
Yeah, this phenomenon in this survey from The Hill about like 26% of parents lying in some shape or form about their kids' vaccination and COVID status. 12.2% admitted in this survey that they had said their child was not vaccinated when in fact their child was vaccinated. That lie mystifies me. When is it advantageous, other than when talking to anti-vaxxers on the internet, to pretend that your kid hasn't had a shot?
Okay, not a psychologist. Don't play one on TV. But here's what I believe a lot of COVID was.
Yeah.
Now, don't anybody freak out here. I'm not saying this is the sum definition of COVID. I'm just saying that this was a side effect. So it was worldwide, certainly nationwide group think.
Yeah.
Now, here's why I say not a psychologist, but I can use a dictionary. So here's a definition of group think. A psychological phenomenon that occurs within a group of people in which the desire for harmony or conformity in the group results in an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. Cohesiveness, or the desire for cohesiveness in a group, may produce a tendency among its members to agree at all costs. Now, here's a simpler definition. Groupthink: the practice of thinking or making decisions as a group in a way that discourages creativity or individual responsibility. So you have people lying about things because they get confused about what it is that they think is the right thing to do. There was such moral imperative instilled in all of us during that time that if you don't follow what the CDC is saying on this, people could die. Now, I'm being a little over sanctimonious here to illustrate the point, but that is really what the nation experienced. Now, I am not saying that nothing about COVID was right. I'm not denying that there was a virus. I'm not denying that some people with serious comorbidities died because of that. The virus was real. It is real. It's still among us. It will be among us for a long, long time, more than likely. But there was other things going on. It wasn't just about the virus. It was about how it was managed and controlled by our government. And I'll go back to one of the most succinct things that Ronald Reagan, God rest his soul, ever said. One of the worst things to hear is, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
I actually have that ready.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
Now, KMJ listeners, we did not plan that. This is 2 independent people talking about this subject. But that's what President Reagan was talking about. We lived through it, and to a certain degree, we're still living through it.
No, I believe that the sentiment's so profound. I've actually got it up here on the hotkeys because it comes up frequently enough that it's just worth having it always ready to go. I agree that groupthink overtook common sense in the pandemic, and I think that, and I believe sincerely that it happened, obviously, clearly on both sides, and I'll be the first one to admit, I was one of those people who basically got into the vaccination camp and took the attitude of, look, if you don't want to get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. Like you can make that decision, and I'm not going to condemn you as a monster. If you're running around telling other people not to get vaccinated because of thimerosal or because it's going to make their kids autistic or grow a hump in their back, you're doing something objectively wrong, and I'm not going to put up with it. I've always been very clear about, I believe that we are going to, from this point forward, we are going to have an annual COVID shot made available, just like the flu shot, because the coronavirus isn't going to go away. I mean, there's an article in the Beat today talking about we're still seeing people hospitalized with the coronavirus. We're still seeing people dying from the coronavirus. Just this year in Fresno County, 8,600 cases have been reported so far. Valley-wide, almost 16,000. It's a part of life now.
Yes, and it will be for quite some time.
Oh, I think that even when we properly cross over into the endemic phase, it's like influenza. It's just always going to be here now. I don't think that you and I will live to see a day where there isn't a new coronavirus shot each year. I think that it exists in humans. It exists in animals. It's a coronavirus. They've always been around, and this one in particular seems to be pretty determined to stick. Now that we are getting closer to that endemic phase, will that tribalism not? And I understand, I'm not talking about the fringy goobers at the very, very farthest 5%. For the folks who are kind of in the middle, for the guys like you and I that said, yeah, I think that a lot of this is theater, but I'm not going to scream at the cashier at the gas station. I'm just going to put on the stupid mask and go pay for my gas. Are we going to get to a point where we can talk about that objectively? Are we past the point where parents will feel compelled to lie about their kids' health status or vaccination status?
Well, I think so. I mean, the fact that we can even talk about this now the way that we are, we couldn't have done that 2 years ago.
No.
Neither one of us could have said the things that we just said 2 years ago without causing panic in people.
No, if 2 years ago either one of us had said masking is not effective or masking is as effective as they say, you and I would have been getting finger wags and stern lectures from everybody else who was credible in terms of being on the online with the government in pandemic hygiene control.
Well, for the company that I was working for at the time, when they came out with their, you got a mask, you got to wear the gloves, you got to wipe down everything, I went to my boss and I said, look, here's my background, and I'm telling you right now, I'm willing to do all of this, but this is nonsense. This is a placebo. It's a placebo. And this was from a woman I respected and loved. She flat out said, don't even say that. Don't think about it. Just do what you're told.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, because through the pandemic, Skip and I continued to come in and work here in the studio. A lot of the folks at Radio City were set up with the technology to work remotely, so they didn't have to come into the building. They sent all the salespeople home, and this was a company-wide thing. This wasn't a local management thing. This was Cumulus Corporate. And Skip and I came into this very room, this studio. And if you're not familiar with the layout of the KMJ studio, we got a nice big control board, and we've got E over at what we call the producer spot, which is really the second control position. And then we've got 3 smaller studios that we look into where Ron McCary and Greg Lane do traffic, where Joshua Weekly and Gabe Navarro handle their production duties, where Liz and Matt and Blake will anchor, and Jim anchor the news. And this room is on its own air conditioner. It's on its own HVAC unit.
Oh, did not know that.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice amenity, and it was part of the soundproofing design that our old friend Joe Mock put into place when they were building this studio system.
Good call.
Great call. So when we come in this room and we close that door, the air in the room is the air in the room. They were going to hang a partition. They were going to hang a plexiglass wall between where you're sitting and where I am, so that Skip and I wouldn't get each other sick because we had to take our masks off to be on the radio. In a room with an air intake right there, they were going to hang a partition between us. Ultimately, they ended up not doing it. Common sense prevailed, but that was how paranoid people were in the moment. We're going to hang plexiglass between 2 people who spend 4 hours breathing each other's recirculated air. It was nuts. It was just bizarre.
Well, summing it up, do I believe the pandemic was real? Yes. Do I believe that some of the things that supposedly were going to save us from it was unreal? Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. We saw our national leadership panic, and other than Operation Warp Speed, in my opinion, the rest of this was throw it at the wall, see what sticks. Make people feel better, do something, instead of just saying, yeah, you might get sick and die.
Yeah.
When the reality was, you might get sick and die.
True that.
C. Curtis Johnson, I'm Philip Teresi, and this is your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
And taking a look at Wednesday afternoon traffic in Madera County, Road 22 and Avenue 24. There's been a collision. No injuries involved there. In Tulare County, eastbound 198 at the Shirk Road off-ramp, there's been a collision. No injuries involved there. The northbound 41 north of the 180 interchange, especially the 180 interchange going into northbound 41, they are more congested than usual this afternoon. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
Looking for a new dining and beverage experience? Come check out Genesis Bistro at the northeast corner of Cedar and Nice in Fresno, where the chef's cuisine along with our mixologist's full cocktail and wine bar are getting people talking. Open for lunch and dinner, make your next meal with friends or family at Genesis Bistro, a one-of-a-kind experience. Also a great place to host a special event or celebration meal. To reserve an event, call 559-314-8284. Are you a talented hairstylist looking for a change? Check out 8028 Salon at Cedar and Nice, where we have open stations available and a move-in special. 8028 Salon offers a unique location and atmosphere for you and your clients. Elegantly located next to Genesis Bistro, your clients will have full options to enjoy food and drinks during service. 8028 Salon only has a few open stations left. Give your talents as a stylist the location you deserve at 8028 Salon. Inquire today at the location, northeast corner of Cedar and Nice in Fresno.
Easy Cater presents We've Got Your Back. Up Singers.
Backing you up.
So I ordered Mexican for my team at work.
With vegetarian options for Jerry.
Then I'm in a meeting and I remember Jerry's vegan.
Love the cheese.
So I text Easy Cater and they reply, no prob, we got this.
Gonna fix it for ya.
Sometimes I get vegetarian and vegan confused. Kind of like Austria and Australia.
Geography is not your strong suit.
Dietary needs? Easy Cater has your back with over 100,000 restaurants. Order 24/7 on easycater.com and know.
We got your back.
It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity during tax season because so much sensitive info is all together.
Before we start the annual meeting of Sean's personal info, has anyone seen Social Security number?
Not me.
Nope. Nuh-uh. Oh no. He's been stolen.
LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, we'll work to fix it. No one can monitor all transactions, but you can save up to 25% off your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, agile, staying ahead of the market at every turn, and finding ways to do more with less. That's never been more important than it is right now. So for a limited time, Comcast Business is introducing Small Business Savings, a deal for companies across the country. When you call in now, you can get powerful internet for just $39 a month for 12 months. $39 a month, with no annual contract and a money-back guarantee. All on the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses, with the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call and get started today. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Offer ends 3/21/23. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Call or go online for details. After promo, regular rates apply.
The California Mid-State Fair is pleased to present an evening of music and wine featuring Styx. Friday, July 28th, the California Mid-State Fair in Paso Robles. Take a trip through the music and relive the classics live. Friday, July 28th, the California Mid-State Fair in Paso Robles. Styx, with one hit song after another. Reserve seats on sale Friday, March 10th at 10 a.m. at midstatefair.com. Styx. Come miss Styx. Presented by the California Mid-State Fair.
Real, honest conversation. News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ. You're listening to the Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson, which would be me. Thank you very much. What do you do with parents who, expose their 3-year-old toddlers to meth? A sad story out of Porterville. And I don't want to talk about this judgmentally. I don't want to talk about the parents like they're monsters. It's not an excuse that they've exposed because they're meth users, that they've now exposed that to their child also. And when you say some things like, well, they're drug addicts, they are victims also, people can sometimes take that as that it's a pass. No, it's not a pass. These are adults who should have known better not to take it in the first place and need to be held responsible for what they've done to their child.
I'm going to say this as somebody who comes from a varied background.
Artfully stated, my friend, who I've known since 1997.
My dad had a lot of friends who partied. And as a kid, I knew that they were drinking. I knew what alcohol was. I knew what beer was. I knew what whiskey was. It was not something that I was allowed to consume, but I knew what a grown-up drink was, and I knew that it wasn't for kids. With the advantage of adult hindsight, I now realize that there were friends of my father's who were indulging in recreational drugs at gatherings. All those years, all those parties, we didn't know what they were doing because having a beer on the table was fine. Doing a line was something you left the room for.
And you of course, are referring to jokes, like doing comedy lines in the other
No,
room, right?
I'm talking about Coke.
I'm sorry, I was being sarcastic.
No,
I was being so sarcastic that I killed the bit. Keep going.
But there was always this sense of you don't let the kids get around this stuff, because if little Phil, if 7-year-old Phil picks up a beer or picks up a cocktail and manages to get a sip down his neck, little Phil might have a tummy ache. And that shouldn't happen, but it's not a catastrophe. You got to manage your behavior. And so as somebody who saw this behavior as a kid, if you're going to be a dope fiend, be a dope fiend, but for God's sake, manage your addiction. Keep it away from your children. Look, doing meth is wrong. It's stupid. It's bad. It's wrong. It's dangerous. It's a horrible way to waste your life. The absolute minimum would be don't leave the meth where the toddler can eat it. If you can't manage that level, you can't blame the drugs. You're too dumb to have sired a child. I mean, I know that's probably, it sounds like a radical or ridiculous attitude to have about it, but look, people are going to do what they're going to do. Your first and most sacred obligation as a parent is to protect your kid.
Agreed. But I would argue that what we have here is a case where we live in a society that has glorified drugs. Our culture glorifies it.
Oh yeah,
in many ways, makes it funny. You hear comedians all the time, and I'm not blaming comedians. The comedians, for the most part, are just mirrors of society.
Oh yeah,
it's funny, it's understandable because it's commonplace. But when you've got parents who are exposing their kids to drugs, it's because, as a whole, for society, we've failed.
But my argument here is if you get a toddler high on meth, you should be sterilized. You obviously can't manage children. You have chosen the drugs over the kids. The child goes to live with some family member who's not a dope fiend, and whatever your wedding tackle is, it is permanently removed.
Scissors, knife, or buzzsaw?
Oh, do it surgically. Do it humanely, but just if you're getting a toddler high, you don't need to make more toddlers.
True that.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BEST for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BEST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BEST for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
Helen here with Chris Moran with a major solar industry update. So Chris, what makes this update so urgent?
The state of California has released a decision that will cut the savings from a new solar system by 75%. It's called NEM 3.0. Luckily, anyone who already has solar under NEM 2.0 will be locked in under the current benefits. But anyone who goes solar after April will do so under the new program, which honestly isn't great.
So, what should people do?
Well, for anyone listening, if you've been considering solar, now really is the time. Many people will regret not getting their system installed before these changes go into effect. And once April comes, it'll be too late.
And since Solar Negotiators is the only contractor to provide lifetime maintenance and no true-up monitoring, people can make the right choice. Lock in your project now with Solar Negotiators powered by Solar Maintenance Pros, your lifetime energy partner.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 1059 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
It's 5 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Fresno County braces for the atmospheric river storm expected to arrive Thursday. KMJ's Liz Kern has more.
Snow is likely to be melted away in lower elevations, creating washed out roads in the mountains and floods in communities on the San Joaquin Valley floor. Fresno County Emergency Services Manager Terry Mejorado, speaking to Broski and Musan, says Public Works, one of the largest sections next to police and fire, is preparing.
Knowing that we're going to have excess water coming down, the Kings and the San Joaquin, the people that run the dams can plan for releasing and storage. There's a lot of creeks that feed unencumbered right into both of the rivers. So we have Public Works out now with different hand crews that CAL FIRE was able to secure for us, and checking all of our riverbanks and to see if we have any trees down that we can get out ahead of time that potentially, could redirect water or, dam up water coming down.
The storm is expected to drop as much as 6 to 8 inches of rain over the coming week, conditions the National Weather Service says we've never experienced before. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
5 people have now been found dead in San Bernardino Mountains after being cut off since February 23rd when the historic snowstorms began. For nearly 2 weeks, people living from Crestline to Lake Arrowhead and Big Bear have been trapped under massive amounts of snow. San Bernardino County Sheriff's officials conducted welfare checks as requested by friends and family, discovering the bodies. One woman found just after 9 a.m. in her Big Bear home Monday. Her family says she needed medical attention. 2 others found in San Bernardino's mountain communities. Another body found in Big Bear, and 1 person in Valley of Enchantment, a neighborhood in Crestline. No details about the other people who died. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department has responded to 11 deaths since the storms, but only 1 has been classified as storm-related. Autopsies have been planned. A man accused of fatally stabbing a California high school student arrested after a standoff with police. Fox's Kristen Goodwin has more.
Roughly 4,500 soldiers from Fort Stewart in Georgia will head to Poland and Latvia as part of a troop
troop buildup the U.S. has maintained in the region since Russia invaded Ukraine. They'll be replacing units from Fort Carson in Colorado and Fort Hood in Texas, who were dispatched to those countries to provide support and assistance to NATO allies. This as about 2,000 soldiers from Fort Stewart's 3rd Infantry Combat Aviation Brigade are preparing to begin a European rotation this spring. None of these troops sent to Europe have been involved in the fighting in Ukraine. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Mostly sunny today with afternoon highs in the upper 50s, but several alerts ahead of the storm. First, a flood watch for the entire San Joaquin Valley. Tomorrow to Sunday below 4,000 feet. Projected rain totals 1 to 4 inches on the valley floor. A winter storm warning above 7,000 feet. Also tomorrow to Sunday, 2 to 8 feet of snow and up to 75-mile-an-hour winds. And finally, a wind advisory along the west side and coastal range. That's tomorrow and Friday with gusty winds to 45 miles an hour. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
And this traffic report is sponsored by Table Mountain Casino Resort. We are looking at northbound 41 at the Tulare Street off-ramp in downtown Fresno. There's a traffic hazard of some sort in the Porterville area. Road 192, Avenue 141, a hit and run, no injuries. And eastbound 198 in Tulare County, the Shirk Road off-ramp, they're cleaning up after a collision with no injuries. Here's another way to win this March at Table Mountain Casino Resort. You can win a stoneware set. On Thursdays from 5 a.m. to midnight, earn 900 points playing with your rewards card. If you qualify, you win. Pick up your gift piece from the promotions counter while supplies last. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
Now, KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. It's the Afternoon Drive. I'm E. Curtis Johnson. Hello, Philip Teresi.
Good afternoon.
Gravity. It's the law.
Gravity sucks.
It does. And it sucks water even harder. And, that's what's going to be happening. We joked around about a lot of things today. We even joked about some serious subjects, but there's nothing funny about flooding and people's homes being washed away and all of the destruction that extra rain and melting snow can do. And, in certain areas, this doesn't affect everywhere. And fortunately, most people know when they're really in a flood zone, I believe. But there are some resources that are available through Fresno County, particularly if you need sandbags.
Yeah, we won't enumerate every single sandbagging location here, but if you believe that you are in need, by the way, they say bring your own shovel and bags. Where would you buy sandbag bags? Or does it even matter? Like, could you just bring a box of hefty bags and load them up to your ability to carry them?
That's an excellent question. That would be better than nothing. Sand is incredibly heavy.
Yeah.
And wow, that's an excellent point.
Yeah, I don't know where to buy sandbags. I'm assuming Home Depot. I mean, you can buy everything else. Costco maybe. But even if all you got's hefty bags, there's a couple of different places where you can go. Auberry, Biola, Fresno, Clovis. Out in Clovis specifically, they've got that corporation yard on the backside of the city property. And the last time I filled sandbags 25 years ago, they actually had everything that you needed there. But again, grab the shovel. And if you have a question, contact the city. 621 City is the number. And by the way, if you start seeing localized flooding as these storms come in, let them know. And with the city, there's two ways to do it. One is call 311. The other way is the Fresgo app. And I cannot tell you how good the city of Fresno has gotten. Have you used Fresgo at all?
I have not.
Oh, so I go out and walk my dogs, just about every morning. And especially when I go on longer walks, if I get outside the neighborhood, inevitably you're going to see graffiti and stuff like that. I don't think that I have seen graffiti that I reported with the Fresno app remain in place for more than 24 hours.
That's pretty quick.
And there was a point in time when I was living out off the Fig Garden Loop that I was reporting graffiti like daily, and they would be right on it. So if you do see something here in town, use that Fresno app. It's fantastic, and that they are paying attention. It's a really well-run apparatus within the city. We're going to post a link to this, but Mariposa's got a couple of places to go if you need sandbags. Merced's got a nice big list. Merced County has a massive list because you start getting out into Snelling and Stevenson and Atwater and Gustine and all of that. Chowchilla, Tulare County, all of those, you're going to be able to find places to go and get it. The last time I sandbagged was the house that I lived in when I was in high school, which was out in Clovis. And they had graded our backyard so badly. We didn't need this. We didn't need atmospheric rivers and crazy conditions. Every single time it rained, because they graded the backyard wrong, the water would run up to the back doors.
Oh, that's a problem.
And it would get to be inches deep. Even in like a quick cloud burst, it would get to be inches deep. So we eventually just had sandbags that lived on the back porch. So if it got overcast, you went and you dragged the sandbags and we stacked them like 3 deep against the master bedroom and the living room sliding doors. And it's there, if you've never done it before and you're kind of concerned like, oh, is there technique here? There is not. Just put the bags of sand on top of each other in front of the thing that you're trying to keep the water away from. I know it sounds really almost like I'm being sarcastic. It's that easy.
Well, and water is such a destructive thing, particularly in a flood. It takes a lot to get it out. Even once the water is gone, you've oftentimes got to rent blowers or buy a blower. Prevention's what's the old adage? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Anytime you can do anything to prevent any kind of flooding or water damage, it's definitely worth your while.
So the Fresno County Sheriff's Office announced evacuation warnings. So it's not time to go yet, but the warnings are in place, and they're focused on local mountain communities for these. The warning actually started yesterday afternoon, and it's all about telling people to be ready to go. And that's another link that we'll share. But the Sheriff's Office says that they're going to keep as many mountain roadways open as they can. But if you don't belong in the hills, if you don't live in the hills, stay out of the hills.
Yeah, not a time for looky-loos or vacations.
No, I Supervisor Magsig, I think, was probably the very first to just kind of put that across in plain language. Like, look, we can't wait for you guys to come up and go skiing at China Peak and enjoy all of the amenities of Shaver Lake. Right now, you're going to die if you aren't driving a snowcat. That I may be paraphrasing.
Point taken nonetheless.
But yeah, so we'll share the link to the sandbag information if you're looking for it. I'm right in the middle of town. I live like a block and a half from Bullard High School. Like, I don't feel like I'm at risk. Although I was. Do you have flood insurance on your house? Did you bother with that?
I do have flood insurance.
Do you? If you don't mind my asking, what was your annual premium for that?
It's part of a comprehensive policy.
Yeah.
So it's flood, fire, snow, cracks in the earth, dinosaurs warring on distant planets. It covers a multitude of things.
Oh, you got like a proper umbrella policy.
Yeah. It's umbrella, comprehensive, whatever the correct insurance term is, but it covers a multitude of things. If my neighbor gets drunk and pulls into my driveway instead of his and drives into my living room, it's covered. It covers all kinds of disasters.
So I've got what I think is pretty typical homeowners insurance, but it doesn't include flood-specific coverage. And so I had asked my agent, hey, can you whip up a quote for me here? And partly because, like, if the price is right, why not? But also partly I thought it might be an interesting indicator of what kind of action they're getting on this if they're getting calls. $800 annual premium to get flood insurance here in the middle of town. I'm curious to talk to, and I was actually thinking about bugging Mike Manuel Jr. about this. I'm curious to know if that's really, really high, if that's really, really low, because that's nearly half of what I pay for homeowners insurance, period. And I don't think of my place as being at risk of a flood.
Well, philosophically, it's only expensive if you don't need it.
Yeah.
If you do need it, it's the best thing you ever bought.
Well, the other thing is there's a 30-day window. So you buy it and you've got 30 days before it goes into effect. So the ship sailed for me.
Yeah, that's true.
So I may be telling you guys what the prices of blowers are in the near future if things get out of hand.
And a nice choice of metaphor, talking about flooding and saying that the ship has sailed. Little Freudian slip, my friend.
The University of Massachusetts is, and by the way, I'm not only am I convinced that TikTok is Chinese spyware and that it's dangerous and it's a bad idea to allow your kids to have it on their phones. It does things like promoting something called Borgs. In this case, it is not.
It's not the Star Trek Borgs.
Yeah, it's not imperialistic cyborgs with green laser eyes. It's blackout rage gallons. Take a handle of your preferred 80 proof booze, Pedialyte, add some additional flavoring and top it up with water, and then slam it.
Now, the only thing that confuses me on that, and I'm not a drinker, but why Pedialyte? Is there some sort of psychological effect that, in this alcoholic concoction that we've created, we're going to at least try and put something that has some nutritional value in it? It's a very strange ingredient.
I believe that this is the result of college kids and TikTokers misunderstanding how electrolytes work and when they work. If you have a hangover, Pedialyte is a fantastic remedy. If you went out and you went hard the night before, my personal recommendation is the Great Pedialyte. I think it happens to be the best tasting and the least syrupy of the available options.
The grape.
The grape.
Okay.
That container of Pedialyte will do more for you than any Gatorade, vitamin water. It'll do more for you than anything short of actually taking like intravenous fluids. And so it's been kind of common wisdom for the party people that having a little Pedialyte in the fridge is a good, considerate thing to do for your hungover future self. The problem is if you mix Pedialyte with a bunch of ethyl alcohol, all of the stuff that makes the Pedialyte work good is going to get filtered out while your liver's trying to get rid of the ethyl alcohol. It's not going to spare you a hangover. It's just going to make your booze taste like cough syrup.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like saying, I'm going to swallow the poison and the antidote in the same shot glass. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I unlike you, I do enjoy an occasional drink. And when I was younger, I probably more than once over-enjoyed myself. Pedialyte's great for the morning after. If you want to actively work to prevent yourself from getting sick, besides just, learning how to hit a decent buzz and maintain instead of going for a blackout, for every drink, a glass of water, and ibuprofen, never Tylenol, before you go to bed.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Well, I in this case, I'm the only one with the relevant experience. But yeah, this is all you're doing is guaranteeing that you're going to wet the bed.
And taking a look at traffic, northbound 41 from the 180 connector to north to Gettysburg is especially congested today. Southeast Fresno, south to Wolf and East Church, there's an animal hazard of some sort. And in downtown Fresno, northbound 41 and the Tulare Street off-ramp, there is a traffic hazard of some sort. For over 60 years, Debutio Defendus Insurance has provided high-quality risk management and insurance solutions for local businesses. They have been named Central Valley's best property and casualty insurance company for 9 years running. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Haley, quote, "Navage is the best thing I bought. I love it. My nose feels so clear now and I can breathe. I've been struggling with a stuffy nose for weeks. I bought Navage and it's amazing." Or this one, "I use Navage every night, could not imagine life without it. I have 5 cats, and before I found Navage, I was a clogged mess. Now I breathe so much better." Unquote. Those are 2 of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
There must be some serious madness this March at the Tachi Palace because we're giving away over $400,000 in cash and prizes. Ah! People told us we were crazy, mad even, to give away over $400,000 in 1 month, but we said it would be crazy not to give away over $400,000 in 1 month. I mean, it's madness for us to give away over $400,000 this March. Just to recap, March, $400,000 madness! The Tachi Palace Casino Resort. This is 40.
It's time for baseball in downtown Fresno. Don't miss a pitch of Grizzlies baseball this season as the team celebrates their 25th season. All the fun starts Friday, April 11th with fireworks, family fun, and more. Join the Fresno Grizzlies for an opening day unlike any other as they kick off what is guaranteed to be an exciting and historic year. Get your Fresno Grizzlies tickets and more now on Sweet Deals.
Ready for some baseball? You can see your Fresno Grizzlies with an unbelievable sweet deal from KMJ. Get this most incredible deal ever. This Friday, purchase a Grizzlies opening day pack, including family 4-pack field box seats, hot dog, chip, and soda vouchers, and Grizzlies hats for each. A $200 value for just $100. This certificate is print on demand, so you can even use it for other games if you miss opening day. But don't! These deals will be limited. Grab yours Friday morning at 9 on KMJNow.com.
Have you ever tried to look 10 or 20 years in your future? Jobs, family, and goals change. You need to create a plan for retirement thoughtfully, professionally, and personally. You can count on me to craft a plan that is right for you to work towards a secure retirement. You can reach me, Tom Diaz, by phone at 559-878-4623. Give me a call and we can talk through your financial goals and answer any questions you may have.
Thomas Diaz is a registered representative with, and securities and advisory services are offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Hi, I'm Joe Holstein, president of SunPower by Quality Home Services, with an urgent message. The local utilities are changing the solar rates and credits, and it's not in your favor. It's estimated that with this new plan, known as NEM 3, new solar customers will lose as much as 75% of the savings that solar provides. That's the bad news. The good news is there's still time to get signed up on the current plan, but you only have until April 15th. So if you've ever thought about going solar or thought about adding on to your current system, now is the time. Call today before it's too late. Solar never has been and never will be as affordable as it is right now. So act today. Visit our website at sunpowerbyqhs.com. That's sunpowerbyqhs.com. Please don't miss out and don't delay. Act today before it's too late.
Don't miss out on the savings. Go to sunpowerbyqhs.com. That's sunpowerbyqhs.com. CSLB 716208.
524 on your afternoon drive. It's News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. That's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi. Phones are open for you at 490-5858, 800-776-5858. We were just talking about this Borging thing that is circulating on TikTok. Is there anything good that has come out of that, the TikTok application?
Not in my opinion. It's the stupidest thing since I can't think of stupid.
Since Instagram. Now, the app itself and the way that most young people are using it is actually brilliant in terms of being like an attractive social media platform. I at this point, I really, if TikTok was an above-board American-owned operation, if it was just another branch of Meta or Twitter or whatever, my issue with TikTok would basically boil down to, I don't want to feel like a dirty old man every time I open my phone, so I'm going to pass.
Yeah, a lot of teens on it. I when TikTok first came out, I looked at it once. I didn't download the app. And then I was listening to these two guys in the afternoon on this radio station called KMJ. As I recall, their names were Chris Daniel and Philip Teresi. I used to listen to that show a lot. Never did I think I would join you here. But anyway, I remember this dude named Philip Teresi talking very convincingly that TikTok was just Chinese spyware.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And so I thought, oh, come on, I know Philip. He's got to be exaggerating on that. Is he trying to just pull a fast one? Is this a lark? So I did some research of my own and went, wow, my old friend Philip is right. TikTok really is Chinese spyware.
Yeah.
So I've never downloaded the app. Yeah. But it shows up sometimes on my Facebook video feed. There's a couple of video series I like to watch on Facebook, and TikTok feeds will come through there, and you can watch them without getting the app.
Yeah, and that is people reposting. So if you see a video branded TikTok on Facebook, it's not connected to TikTok. You're safe. But yeah, it's Chinese. There's a reason that governments, different state governments all over this country, Canada at the federal level, have all said, don't put it on the network, don't have it on your devices. No. I think it should be banned, period, in the United States. Nevertheless, it's there, it exists, and nobody is going to listen to me because college kids still operate under that maxim of never trust anybody over 30.
Yeah, that rules us out.
Yeah, oh yeah, big time. So this phenomenon, this challenge, fad, trend, whatever, Borgs, blackout rage gallons, booze, Pedialyte, water, and additional flavoring. It sounds like a stupid, overhyped thing that people are going to talk about, like you remember the eating Tide Pods story.
Yes.
And there was like 3 people that actually tried to eat a Tide Pod, and everybody else just talked about it. In this case, University of Massachusetts is reporting they have had 28 ambulances summoned to off-campus parties as the result of people attempting to consume this concoction.
That's a lot of use of emergency services.
That's a lot of kids that are going to cause permanent brain damage. Look, there's oops, I gave myself a hangover because I had one too many margaritas. And then there's my central nervous system started to boot down. And this nonsense is going to cause people's central nervous system to boot down. Somebody's going to die because of this.
I can't relate to some of this because I've never been a drinker. Some people think that's a religious thing. It actually started from just growing up in a small town where in junior high, I had friends who were coming to school drunk in 7th grade. And I noticed the change in people that were doing that. You know, people that were my friends were suddenly bullying me because they were literally drunk. And so, I mean, that turned me off to it.
Yeah.
So I can't relate to this from a user standpoint, but I don't know why. I don't understand binge anything. Binge anything generally means that you're trying to drown something out. You're trying to kill a pain, or you're just overly bored.
One of the biggest mistakes, I think, in the way that we navigate alcohol as a society. Because first of all, I am not somebody who looks askance at a person who has made the choice not to drink. Whether it's your very pragmatic, logical decision after watching people make fools of themselves. My grandfather was very much the same way. He brewed his own beer, and he would have a beer about once a week with dinner. And that was it. My grandmother said in the, 70 years they were married, she saw him imbibe once. He just didn't do it. My dad, on the other hand, if he was off work and the car was parked for the night, he had a drink in his hand. Never got drunk, never beat his wife, never screamed at the kids. He wasn't that kind of guy, but Dad drank. Our society, from people who've made a pragmatic decision not to do it, to folks who are in recovery, who are staying away from it to save their own lives, to scotch and wine aficionados who are enjoying this on a level that's completely unrelated to it's Friday night and I don't want my back to hurt anymore. We don't talk about it with young people in a sensible and deliberate way. There is a way to enjoy alcohol and to catch a buzz and let those inhibitions drop, and to do so responsibly and to actually really enjoy yourself. But we don't talk about that, and we don't talk about identifying when you've developed a bad habit or you're showing signs of dependence. Instead, there's this ridiculous, and it's mostly the guys, I think, that really get into this trap. This chest thumping, I can drink more than you. I can drink him under the table.
Yes.
That's a sign of masculinity. I can drink him under the table. No, it's a sign of a fatty liver, and you should probably stop doing that. And yeah, a 250-pound guy is probably going to be able to drink most people under the table. You've got more body mass to absorb the alcohol. It's not a magic trick. It's chemistry. But we don't talk about it sensibly, so you get some kid who's away from mom and dad for the first time in their life. They go to a frat party, and it's, I've got to be, if I'm a man, I've got to drink a gallon of alcohol. You're going to die. You're going to make yourself violently ill, or damage your brain permanently, or kill yourself. And we don't talk about that sensibly. In college campuses, we'll go to the abstinence thing, and they'll go to this very kind of prim, uptight attitude about it, instead of saying, yeah, it's okay to want to catch a buzz. Catch the buzz and then stop. If you have to buy new underwear after your buzz, you did it wrong.
Well, thank you for the visual on that one, my friend.
We've lost our minds about it. And again, if a person doesn't like drinking, if a person's not into it, they should be told. And that's the other thing is, the sober curious movement popped up, and it became this kind of like weird vegan or CrossFit adjacent phenomenon where people were all of a sudden sober curious, and they're talking about their sobriety. They're not in a 12-step program. They're not trying to recover from an addiction. They're just not drinking now, and that all of it's unhelpful. People just need to learn how to judge their limits, and they need to learn that masculinity is not defined by the ability to drink until you fall down. But there's 28 college kids who, I don't know, will they tell the story with pride at some point, or will they have a little bit of shame?
Good question.
KMJ News now.
It's 5:30 in Fresno. Good afternoon. I'm Jim Miller here in the KMJ News Center. Evacuation warnings issued in Fresno County for areas that are likely to flood. National Weather Service officials issued the warnings yesterday. Those who live in the foothills and mountains told to prepare in case of an evacuation. Arraignment is tomorrow for a man who allegedly killed his wife. Fairfield police officials say 53-year-old Anu Hobson's body found last week in Fresno County. Authorities say she was believed to be with 61-year-old Gregory Hobson Valentine's Day. Tuesday. Hobson was arrested in Fairfield 2 days later for suspicion of murder. The White House responding to a new bill aimed at the Mexican drug cartels. Fox's Ryan Schmelz reports from the White House.
Republicans in Congress believe a bill that would designate the cartels as terrorist organizations will help in the fight against the criminal organizations and even allow the military to strike the cartels where they operate. The White House, though, disagreeing, saying it would not give the government any additional authorities it doesn't already have.
The United States has powerful sanctions authorities specifically designated to combat narcotics trafficking organizations.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says the administration has taken action, like allowing the Treasury to sanction and penalize cartels. At the White House, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Mostly sunny today with afternoon highs in the upper 50s, but several alerts ahead of the storm. First, a flood watch for the entire San Joaquin Valley tomorrow to Sunday below 4,000 feet. Projected rain totals 1 to 4 inches on the valley floor. A winter storm warning above 7,000 feet also tomorrow to Sunday. 2 to 8 feet of snow and up to 75-mile-an-hour winds. And finally, a wind advisory along the west side and coastal range. That's tomorrow and Friday with gusty winds to 45 miles an hour. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Joe Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
And taking a look at our Wednesday afternoon traffic in Tulare County, Route 63 and Avenue 416, there's been a collision, no injuries there. The Porterville area, Pepper Road and Road 236, a collision with no injuries. South of Fresno, South Clovis and East Manning, there was a collision, injuries involved. Emergency vehicles are on scene. Northbound 41 at the Tulare Street off-ramp, there's been a collision, no injuries. And westbound 180 at southbound 99, a collision with no injuries. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
Selma Swap, buy or sell cars, parts, and big boy toys. March 18th, Highway 99 at Mountain View, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m., rain or shine. SelmaSwap.com.
Inflation goes up. Do you feel like you need to refinance your car to fill up the gas tank? What if 2 years ago someone offered to sell you a lifetime supply of gas at $2.75 a gallon, but you told them no? Today, you would be kicking yourself. Right now, Planet Solar has that same offer for you on your electric bill. As inflation goes up, so does your utility bill. Lock in your energy prices today with a new Planet Solar system. Planet Solar is locally owned and operated in Clovis. They're big enough to offer you all the best brands and in-house financing, but small enough to give you the personal service you deserve. Call Planet Solar to find out how to lock in your electricity costs today. You'll be glad you did. Call them at 559-228-9245 or find them on the web at planetsolar.com. That's 228-9245 or planetsolar.com. License number 938313.
There's no denying it. People are using way more bottles and cans than ever before. Recycling them eases the strain on our natural resources and reduces greenhouse gases in our skies. Sure beats letting them spend the next few centuries just sitting in a landfill. Want to step up your efforts to help the environment? No doubt, reaching for the recycle bin just feels right. So no matter how you're doing your part, thank you. Do the right thing and take the time to recycle your beverage container bottles and cans at home, at work, and at play each and every day. And doing the right thing can make you money. Almost every bottle and can you use can be recycled. Look for the Universal Recycle symbol and the words CA Cash Refund or CA CRV. Toss CRV eligible containers into your curbside bin along with your other recyclable materials or redeem them for their refund value at your local recycling center.
This beverage container recycling message has been brought to you by Mid-Valley Disposal and the City of Coalinga.
Look at this beauty.
Nice. She's sweet. Where'd you find her?
Morris Levin & Son.
The hardware store?
Yeah, that's right. Morris Levin & Son has a firearms department, and they carry beauties just like this Sig Sauer.
What else do they carry?
Any gun that's allowed on the California roster, and if they don't have it in stock, they'll order it. They have a ton of gun accessories too, like buffer kits, holsters, lower parts kits, scopes, and optics. I'm like a deer in the headlights the minute I walk in the door.
I've been wanting a custom firearm, something out of the ordinary.
Well, Morris Levin & Son has a full custom shop with a knowledgeable staff and gunsmith right on the premises.
I remember my dad used to shop Morris Levin & Son when he needed a plumbing part.
I'm telling you, bro, they've got it all.
Morris Levin & Son, your local hardware store since 1934. Open 7 days a week at 1816 South K Street in Tulare.
We've got what you need to get the job done. Morris Levin & Son.
1816 South K Street, Tulare.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th. Only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
Now, KMJ's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson.
Please help me welcome the new guy.
What did you expect? Welcome, Sonny. Make yourself at home.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. It's Philip Teresi and E. Curtis Johnson on the Afternoon Drive. Now, before I launch into this story and get a call from the Tesla dealership, I want to emphasize that it's important to really read information in a news story before you jump to conclusions. So the product that I'm about to talk about has only happened in 2 vehicles.
That have been documented so far.
That we know of so far. It's not to say that more won't happen, but to get to the point of the point, Tesla's Model Y SUV has had the steering wheel fall off of 2 models when somebody was driving them. Now, I've had a lot of weird things happen in cars, and I've owned a great number of cars in my life, some really good, some complete pieces of junk. But I can't imagine the panic that would ensue in buying a high-end vehicle and having the steering wheel come off.
Yeah, that's not even a high-end vehicle thing. I feel like if I was driving around in your old flood-washed VW Beetle and or no, it was Appleton's VW Beetle that got swept out in a flood. They had to get a tow truck to get it from the middle of the intersection where it was bobbing around.
Yikes.
Model Y, waterlogged Bug, Cadillac Escalade, Ford Pinto. If the steering wheel comes off, I'm panicking.
Yeah, that's going to be a frightening moment.
So the NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, is probing an estimated 120,000 vehicles from this model year, the 2023 model year. The agency says in both cases, the Model Ys were delivered to customers with bolts missing, specifically the bolt that holds the wheel on the steering column. Yeah, there was a friction fit that held the wheels on, but as soon as force was exerted, goes the steering wheel. I understand proceeding with an abundance of caution. Is 2 vehicles having this problem? Does that justify that level of scrutiny? 100,000 plus? I mean, we're talking about a $56,000 vehicle.
Well, I would argue that it does, and normally I would argue against government intrusion, and there is some government intrusion in this, in that you're talking the safety of people, safety of people. So 1 could have been a fluke. 2, it's more than just 1. It doesn't mean that Tesla is a bad car. It doesn't mean that thousands of people, hundreds of people are now at risk. But you have to at least investigate.
Yeah,
it would be irresponsible not to disclose that it's happened. Now this is a little different than, for example, I own 2 hybrid vehicles. I'm not going to mention the brand name, but when Priuses first started becoming popular, there was this panic thing of Priuses not being able to stop once they got started.
Yeah.
As it turned out, it was a complete ruse. It happened. One guy tried it as a stunt and it worked, and then there was a copycat episode of it. So this is not a case of an accusation that's easily disproved. This is literally finding two cars where bolts were missing on the steering wheel.
Okay, so I agree that it's worthwhile to make sure that it's not going to happen again, because we are talking about cars. We are talking about the safety both of the people in this car and in all the cars around them. I'm fine with, let's deal with this. There's a part of me that wonders why the taxpayers are going to foot the bill instead of Tesla, as you would traditionally see with a recall. When the airbag situation erupted with Honda was going door to door. Hey, hi, yeah. No, we saw you got a Ford and a Chevy in the driveway. We were just wondering, do you have a Honda in the garage because we need to replace its air? No. Do you know anybody who has a Honda? Can you call them and ask? Like, they went completely nuts to prevent that situation from continuing. Same thing with Ford with the Explorer when they realized the issue with the Firestone tire incompatibility. They started yanking those vehicles and replacing tires left and right. And in that case, you had a horrible, tragic situation that led to that. You get a call from your car's manufacturer, or you get an email, however they reach out to you. Mr. Johnson, we have become aware of the possibility that your particular make and model of automobile may have shipped without the bolt that secures the steering wheel to the steering column. You can bring your vehicle in for a free bolt and safety inspection to any dealership in your area. Obviously, the situation is going to get handled one way or another. Are you still driving that car after they put that bolt in? Or if you missed something that big, do you lose faith in the vehicle?
No, because this is an assembly problem. It's not a design error.
Sure.
It's one thing to find that, a particular whatever thingy-mabobber on the car is designed in such a way that it can cause an accident and or death. It's entirely another thing to find out that some employee, some Tesla assembly line employee, just didn't do their job. They didn't put the bolts in. They didn't tighten them down right.
That's a big job. And that's, I'm on the other side. If you call me and tell me that your process for getting these cars out of the factory allowed for the possibility that the steering wheel is going to come off in my hands in traffic, I don't care how popular you are. I don't trust your product anymore. You need to buy it back so I can go get another car. Because we aren't talking about the glue on the rear view mirror cracking in the sun and your mirror falling off one day. We're talking about a significant omission.
Understood. But I'll double down and say, again, it's probably not a design error.
Oh, I don't think it's a design error. The design error would almost be a relief because you can say, okay, this went through engineering, this went through beta testing, and until it got out onto the road, they just didn't know. It doesn't thrill me to learn that an automobile manufacturer is beta testing in the field. That sounds dangerous. But you didn't secure the steering wheel. What else aren't you securing?
Okay, so I don't want to say that I might be slightly influenced by the fact that if I agree with you, Elon Musk may say something nasty about me on Twitter. Okay, I don't want to imply that that's the reason for my logic, but I'm going to double down and say this is traceable. We know the cars. We can go back and say, well, these two cars went through this part of the assembly process at such and such a time in this plant. Who were the workers on there? Is this the same guy who's committed the same error? Is this the same person who's put in both bolts or forgot to put in both bolts? I would argue that it's a traceable error.
Okay. If the people who made your car, again, big hypothetical here. Neither of us are driving Teslas. If the people who made your car called you and said, hey, dude, you need to Home Depot and go grab a bolt. Will you make the Home Depot run so you don't have to put up with waiting for a dealer appointment?
No, I'm going to skip Home Depot and just go to another dealer and get my money back.
That's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi. This is your Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
And taking a look at Wednesday afternoon traffic, one last look. South Clovis and East Manning, cleanup going on after earlier this afternoon a collision with injuries. In Porterville, Pepper Road, Road 236, a collision, no injuries. And also in Tulare County, routes, that's Highway 63, there we go. Avenue 416, a collision with no injuries. In the Fresno area, northbound 41. The Tulare Street off-ramp, collision with no injuries. And westbound 180 and southbound 99, a collision there with no injuries. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th. Only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
A John Deere 3 Series family tractor is more than just a tractor. It's an experience. From the moment you get in the seat, you have a ton of features to tackle every chore on your checklist and designed so you enjoy doing them. Plus, it's affordable. So jump on a tractor and get some work done. Check out the Thomason Tractor Company in Firebaugh, where for over 55 years, they strive to provide their customers with individualized, personalized attention. Thomason Tractor Company in Firebaugh, where superior service is standard equipment.
Balanced Comfort Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing have been in the Valley about a decade. They're younger than some, but embrace the latest technological advances. It helps them respond sooner and fix it faster. Did you know trenchless pipe repair is a thing? Pipe repair without lawn repair. What a concept. Right now, Balanced Comfort can clean your drain for just $79. So when you need it now or before you do, remember Balanced Comfort for Plumbing in Fresno, Visalia, and Oakhurst. Balanced Comfort Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. BalancedComfort.com.
GSLB 1027-318.
The story of the nurse and the foot pain that nearly brought him down.
I feel like I'm giving people their lives back.
Robert lived to take care of his patients, but he couldn't do it unless he took care of his foot pain.
I have plantar fasciitis. It'll almost put you on your knees. That's how much it hurts.
His own recovery started when he got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now that I'm pain free, I can make these people feel better.
Can't beat that. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Step into your Good Feet store in Fresno, Merced, and Visalia. Good Feet, the official arch support of Fresno State Athletics.
And let me tell you, it's been a real adventure dealing with the Zuber team and the potential sale of my home on Van Ness. 2903 Van Ness. Hint, hint, it's gorgeous, 2 stories. It's over 100 years old. I've done much to it, and I want you to live there. Get a hold of the Zuber team, please. I used a couple of programs to make sure I could get into the condominium that I wanted to in kind of an expeditious, quickie way. The Zuber team has a number of programs that can help you out. If you have to move on now, ask the Zuber team to give you an instant cash offer on the place that you're selling. With the Zuber team, you can buy before you sell. Ask about the trade-up program. Darren and Daryl will take care of you and any other of the Zuber team members. The Zuber team with Real Broker has been at it since 1971. They've sold close to 7,000 homes. They have hundreds of 5-star reviews between Google and Zillow. Click Zuber Team, Z-U-B-E-R, zuberteam.com, or Google Zuber Team. They're so easy to find, and they're easier to work with.
The California Mid-State Fair is pleased to present an evening of music and wine featuring Styx. Friday, July 28th, the California Mid-State Fair in Paso Robles. Take a trip through the music and relive the classics live. Friday, July 28th, the California Mid-State Fair in Paso Robles. Styx, with one hit song after another. Reserve seats on sale Friday, March 10th at 10 a.m. at midstatefair.com. Styx.
Presented by the California Mid-State Fair.
KMJ, radio, streaming, social, smart speakers, on demand, online, anytime. You're always connected with KMJ. KMJ.
Everything that happens in Fresno's got to run the gauntlet of KMJ. It is such a blessing for you all to have what you have. It's been 100 years of communicating with your community. There's nothing like that for 1,000 miles.
And so ends our broadcast day.
News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ, the afternoon drive with Philip Teresi and yours truly, E. Curtis Johnson, about to wrap up. We were talking about Steve Jobs here a minute ago, and the fact that there has been Steve Jobs. Wow, what a horrible Freudian slip there. Elon Musk. I'm about to mention Steve Jobs. Anyway, two bolts on two different Tesla models came off, and the steering wheel fell off while people were driving it. Philip and I have taken kind of different stances on that. I think it's fixable. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I want to argue to a bigger point, and that is Elon Musk himself.
Mm-hmm.
I'll argue that he is like Steve Jobs. He's like Henry Ford. He's like Rockefeller. He is an immigrant that has come to the United States and embraced this country with a lot of bravado. And is riding it for all it's worth. And I say, God bless him.
Elon Musk is Hank Scorpio.
Hank Scorpio. Wow. I didn't expect that response.
Elon Musk is Hank Scorpio.
Why do you say that?
He is intelligent. He is capable of producing some very impressive things. He is also an Erstaz Bond villain. Elon Musk is selling a reputation. He is selling an image. He is selling overblown, overpromised nonsense. Do I think that Tesla is usually a pretty good product and kind of a cool car? Yeah, actually, I do think it's a pretty good product and usually a pretty good car. He hired some very, very smart engineers. Likewise, the SpaceX program, Elon Musk hired the right people. All you have to do is turn around and look at the Boring Company to see how it goes when he doesn't surround himself with the best and the brightest in a field. He went out and he did this whole overblown, I'm going to create this Hyperloop tunnel and we're going to change transportation and end congestion. And what have you got? You got a tunnel full of Teslas that reminds everybody who's been on it of the people mover at Disneyland that has done nothing to solve a single problem. You've got You've got his Skylink internet service that has created a visual pollution that has given everybody working in astronomy heartburn. And if you look at the orbit patterns of all the crap that he has sent up into space, everybody else, you've got these very careful, planned orbits, even the debris they send out. There is some kind of method to how it moves so as to avoid creating a problem. His stuff looks like somebody gave a sixth grader Tylenol with codeine and too much time alone with a set of pens. I think that Elon Musk is Hank Scorpio.
Okay, so we've discovered now that instead of my Twitter account being banned, it'll be Philip's Twitter account that will be banned. We've established that much. I could not disagree with you more, but hey.
We will live to fight another day.
That we will. Yay.
That's E. Curtis Johnson. I'm Philip Teresi, and we're going to clear the way. The great one, Mark Levin, is on the way after an update of headlines from the Fox News team and our friends at the Valley's Legends and Legacies. If you missed any part of the show, get the podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music, and at KMJ Now. And we will see you tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock for the Thursday installment of the Afternoon Drive. Levin is next. Don't move.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in TuneIn Radio or Google Podcasts.
The Valley's Legends and Legacies are brought to you as a public service by the family of Bill Tatham Sr. for you to experience the value of history as a learning opportunity to inspire your success today and as a spark of your imagination